Sound check, sound check. How's everybody doing tonight? Sound check, sound check. Welcome to the Hard Truth Thursday Night Live. Yeah, that's right. Ha ha. As you can see, we're on some new software. We're gonna have to learn how to get along in a new neighborhood. Good to see you, good to see you. Let's see who we got here. Roll back to the beginning. All right. I got Cindy Abbott, Annie Ruler. First on first. Cindy Dame. We got two Cindys tonight. Cindy Abbott and Cindy Dame. All right then, Kyrie T. Welcome, welcome, welcome. New member. All right, we got Les in the house. Leslie Vasquez. Deb Tudoro. The usual suspects. All right. Let's do it. Let's. All right. Firefly. SW Firefly. I see you. Shout out. Be River Girl. That's right. One Made Nut. I see you. Welcome. All right, let's say hello to everybody that's watching around the states and around the world. All right, this week's lineup. I want to say hello to everybody. Our big city viewers, Seattle, New York, Chi-Town, LA. Shout out to Fort Worth, Texas. All right, and then we got Australia in the house. We got to have somebody from Australia. All right, because they've been busy over there. We got to shout out to Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, and Adelaide. All right, y'all got it going on, holding it down in Australia. Much love to you. Much love to Cape Town, of course, Scotland. Okay, we got all our Slavic countries. Hey, we love you. And so let's get started, see what's going on here. Now, we got a few options here where you can call in. I have a link, I think, that I can post and invite. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the topics, and after I get started in each topic, then I'll invite whoever links I see. I think I can have up to 6 people on here. So, of course, this is my first rodeo. I've been practicing today in a private live, but I believe we're going to get it straight tonight. And once I get comfortable driving this thing, we're going to have even more fun. All right. Now, let's see. I'm going to share my screen here. And shout out to Tetra5578. Susie Smith, I see you. Much love to everybody that's coming in. Rosanna, all right. Shout out to Rosanna. Tetra5578. Beautiful. Divino, Distrata Faccio. Oh my goodness. Woo! I got it all out in one breath this time. Usually I have to take a couple of breaths when I say your name, Divino. Oh, shucks, we got Audrey Cates in the house. What? Oh, it's going to be live. We are live, and it's going to be live. Hope everybody's having a beautiful week. You know, life is a gift. It's precious. That's why they call it the present. Hope you took time to smell the flowers. Look around at the little butterflies and bees and watch a few ants try to build something. someplace they shouldn't. I don't know why ants always want to build a ant bed places that they're not wanted. Anybody know why? All right, so tonight we got some interesting topics, and I want everybody to get a chance to call in that wants to. All right, shout out to LA. That's right. That's right. Yeah, we're gonna have a good time tonight. We're gonna have a good time. Juggy Jones, I see you, Juggy. All right, that's right. I'm in the easy. All right, shout out to Juggy Jones in LA, Audrey Cakes, Terry Sloop in the house. All right, still piling in, still piling in. Much love, much love. Let me show some love. Good to see everybody. Good to see you. Great to see you. Good to see you. Great to see you. Thank you for those that hit the like button. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's right, that's right. Now, let me get my snacks adjusted so we can get rolling. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And we'll see what we can do. All right, this is our first topic here. This is an article that was published about 9 or 10 hours ago, if you can believe it. And this really struck me as odd for a couple of reasons. Okay, the first thing that I found to be odd, the name of this article is Official Search for Online Knife Shopping History of Idaho Student Slaying Suspect. Okay, like I said, this was published just a few hours ago. Just a few hours ago. So you would think this would be current news, relevant news, something that, this is NBC, So I was expecting something a little bit more, how should I say it? What's next do you have tonight, HT? Well, since you asked, Tetra, I have some popcorn, some buttery popcorn, some plain chips, and I have some special hot sauce to go on the chips. It's called a Spicy Shark. It's part of this big suitcase full of hot sauce I got for my son. And this is the Spicy Shark flavor. It's super hot. If you sprinkle it on your potato chips, you better have something cold to drink to go with it. And I just happen to have such a thing. It's called Diet Coke in a plastic bottle, 16 ounce, ice cold. And so that's to start me off. No sweets yet. What about y'all? What y'all got? And don't tell me snow peas and ranch. Do not tell me that's what you have for a snack tonight. No, 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 no. All right, we're going to get started. And the reason, excuse me, I just swallowed something. Hold on, let me grab my soda. That's better. Now listen, the article says, official search for online knife shopping history of Idaho student slaying suspect. And I was thinking to myself, are they just not doing this or what? Why are they saying this now? Okay, and so what if somebody did order a knife online? So what? We don't know what the murder weapon or weapons were. We have no idea. So what's the big deal? Hey, K-Dub. Shout out to K-Dub. Let me give y'all some shout outs right quick before you say I don't love you. Shout out to K-Dub. Let's get this started right quick. Make sure I'm still on the right page. Probably a faster, easier way to do it, but hey, tonight is my what do you call it? My impromptu or my introductory debut with this is my debut with this software. All right, so who did I give a shout out? K-Dub, All right. Shout out to Cindy Day and Annie Ruler for being first. Yep, that was real cool right there. Appreciate you. All right. That's beautiful. Oh, nice job, Heart, too. Davino, I know it. Shout out to Davino for telling me nice job. I know it. All right, let's see. Swampside Chick. Shout out to Swampside Chick. Terry Slew. One Made Nut. Audrey Cates. All right, all right. Shout out. We got the moderator here, Audrey. Show her some love and respect. Shout out to Audrey Cates. Moderating tonight. I appreciate you. All right. Now, oh shucks, Denny in the house. Shout out to Denny, one of my favorite people. Much love, Denny. Love you, man. All right. Now, let's get to what I found out, what I see as a problem, something I see as a problem. All right. It says investigators have issued search warrants to create a fuller picture of suspect Bryan Kohberger's online footprint. Now, that's including click activity pertaining to knives in the investigation into the deaths of 4 University of Idaho students last year. Now listen. Click activity pertaining to knives. Now, for anybody that's ever been on, oh shucks, who we got here? All right, AF, I see you. Much love. My guardian angel is here. Much love, AF. I see you. I see you. I see you. Now, y'all listen. They're starting off lying. They're starting off, with foolishness. How are you going to find out how many times somebody clicked on something pertaining to knives? Okay, this man was 28 years old when he was arrested. And he's been online posting stuff since at least 2007. And you want us to believe that you want us to believe that you can find every time he clicked on something pertaining to a knife, that type of search exists. Now, my computer geeks, forensic computer geeks, please enlighten me. Is this possible? All right, LA, who wasn't clicking for K-Bar after the arrest? All right, LA got the first brain. That's right. LA got the first brain. Now listen. How can you find out all the times that somebody clicked on something, not just knives, something pertaining to knives? This search is not even possible, in my opinion. So they're already telling us a lie. Denny, you get a brain too. It sounds desperate to me. That's the word I'm looking for. Desperate. How can you tell us that you've got a search warrant for something that's not even possible? How can you get the click activity for somebody for something that's not even possible? How is this possible? Now, it says he was indicted for the murders. I'm not going to just keep saying this over and over what happened. All right. Moscow, Idaho authorities issued search warrants for Amazon, Apple, PayPal, Venmo, and YouTube activity. Isn't this old news? And it says the recently released filings were dated September the 8th in the 2nd Judicial District of Idaho State Court. Now, can you believe that? Can you believe that? So all of these warrants, they said they filed back in November. Were those lies? Why are they, didn't they ask for Venmo and PayPal and Apple and Amazon? Don't we have record of those search warrants from back in November? Are they just not asking for this stuff? Were the first search warrants, were they not true? That's crazy. Is it me? Am I tripping? Shout out to Curious Denise. All right, Curious Denise, from here on out, you might be Curious D instead of the whole word. So I might have to abbreviate from here on out. All right? Am I tripping? Benevenuto High Truth. Let me look that up. Benevenuto. Let me look that up. Benevenuto. The word welcome, as in the polite and friendly greeting you use upon someone's arrival. All right, I learned a new Italian word. Benvenuto. I got it. Davino. Thank you very much. I'm ready now. Now, I'm wondering, why are they filing on September the 8th for stuff they said they filed for back in November? This is a mess. Because according to the PCA and according to the subsequent filings in January and February, they already asked for it. Now, let's see. The second thing I would like to have is, hold on, let me see. I lost my spot. Okay, my question was, why would why would these people be filing this stuff on September the 8th? I'm going to see if I can add some of y'all to the live stream. And let me, hold on, invite guests. Let's try this out. All right, here is the link for you to call in, I think. All right, once you click on that link, you should be able to, I should be able to see you trying to come in. Now, why on earth would these people, be filing this on September the 8th? And why? They told us they had search warrants for this stuff in November. And now they're talking about a search warrant obtained on May 8th and returned July 5th sought the history of a redacted Amazon account from the time periods March 20th through 30th and November 1st through December 6th. And so the history of a redacted Amazon account. I mean, what are they up to here? They're up to something. Now let me turn some of this stuff off. Hold on. Let me turn some of this stuff off. And let me see if I can okay, I put Sergeant Friday. Can you say something?
Boo.
I can hear you.
Boo. Did I scare you?
Yeah, you did. Okay, let me in. All right, well, I think I can have up to 6 people on here. And
yeah,
so,
you can. I think up to 10.
Well, I think you have to start paying some money after 6. And I'm the free trial queen. So until I learn how to use it, that's what it's gonna be.
Easy with that. That's what I look at around 2 a.m. at the clubs, the free trial queen.
Right. So what do you think about these warrants? Do you believe that they even pulled the stuff they said they pulled in November? Because now they're going back saying they pulled the exact same thing in September. I mean,
what warrants did they pull? Are they talking about the knife and the sheath and stuff like that?
They say, yeah, they're trying to say they're looking at Bryan Kohberger's click activity to see if he clicked on anything pertaining to a knife. Is that even possible?
Yeah. It's amazing the amount of data they could store about every act you make on the internet.
But for how long?
For as long as they want.
Okay.
In perpetuity,
right.
until all the electricity goes out.
All right. Well, let me ask you this then. How can you search somebody's activity pertaining to the word knife? Doesn't it become much too broad after that?
No, I don't know. No, I mean, again, we know that every warrant they've issued has cleared Bryan Kohberger. That's the best part of this whole thing.
Right.
So the warrant to search his property, cleared. Workplace, cleared. Automobile, cleared. Parents' house, cleared.
Right.
Now they're looking to connect them to a knife that and again, they're going to come to the same conclusion. Cleared.
Right. I agree. And then another thing that we have noticed lately is in the original PCA, it says that the sheath was next to Maddie Mogen's body when you first enter the room on her left side. And then now they're saying the sheath moved. Now it was under the comforter, under her, between Maddie and the comforter. It's no longer on her left side. And I think the reason for that is to compensate for the fact that they're not going to show not one body cam or crime scene photo with that sheath, in the bed with Maddie with blood on it, actually part of the actual crime scene before things change.
Well, that'll be up to Ann to sort that out and make sure she gets that discovery. But the catch-22 for these guys is they did it backwards. They should never have arrested Kohberger before they did any of the stuff that you're seeing.
Right.
They should have taken the dad's DNA, confirmed it matched, and said that it was a direct relative, potentially a son, right? Then they should have swabbed. They should have approached Mr. Kohberger and brought him in for questioning.
That's right. That's
They
right.
shouldn't have ran to a judge and had some bullshit story in a PCA and got a signed warrant to arrest him for murder. They had no evidence placing him at that crime scene. None.
Right.
And
Well,
that's why I think she'll win come the 26th. I think on the 26th, the indictment gets tossed.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, I agree with what you're saying. And I personally am shocked that this guy was arrested before they searched his apartment and his car. To me, that was like the ultimate in being premature in making an arrest or even naming a suspect. I mean, they hadn't searched his apartment or his car.
Listen, I'll tell you, this is a true story. And the names are not going to be edited because it's me. Okay.
All right.
I was arrested for breaking into an apartment and stealing guns. Okay. And they never charged me with a crime because I was the maintenance man that had just painted the entire area and areas where that apartment is, the hallway, the apartment door. And what they found to connect me to the crime were fingerprints on the door hinges. So the truth is, I removed the pins on the door hinges because the door hinges were on the wrong way. They were out in the hallway where they shouldn't be. They should be inside the apartment.
Right.
So the person, whoever put the door on, put it on backwards. I pulled the hinge pins, opened the door, went inside, stole the guns, come back out, put the hinge pins back in the door, and walked away. They never charged me with a crime because the reasonable doubt stood that I was supposed to be there, that I was painting, and that my fingerprints could be expected anywhere in that hallway, including those door hinges. And therefore, they never even tried to prosecute me.
Right.
I never admitted to it, right? This crime goes back 30 years when I did drugs. So but my point is, they didn't do any investigation with Kohberger. They took the IGG report and they took investigative material that made the report look real, right? Dad's DNA. And then they went and arrested the man. They should never have done that. That's the big mistake here.
Right.
They had no probable cause.
Right. They didn't, except according to them, the probable cause was that his behavior was disturbing at the university. That's what they said in the New York Post. That's what they said in the Idaho Statesman. That's what they said. I mean, they pretty much told us why he became a suspect because of his.
Listen, you want to hear something funny? I've had a lot of disturbing behavior when I was young. And up until about 20 years ago, the police would always come and check on me for a particular kind of a crime. And it's not sex or violence or murder, nothing like that. No, it's a burglary type of crime. And they would come just to check where I may have been during it, but they stopped doing that as time went on. They realized that I was on the straight and narrow. I'm not a criminal, and I'm just not. So, but that doesn't make you a criminal because you have exhibited a behavior similar to the crime or part of the MO or whatever they're trying to come up with in their head. That's just the theory within their brain. Just like when we watch that TikTok guy or Drip or whoever it is, and we discuss different things we see and try to connect it to the murder. It's just a thought. There's no way to prove any of it. And the PCA is full of thought, right?
Right.
We think he turned his phone off to hide. Well, nobody saw him do that, right?
Right.
We got images of a car. Well, no one saw the license plate. No one saw Brian.
Right.
So those are just theories. Those aren't evidence of a crime.
You're right.
Right. He was rude to women. He didn't know, whatever they want to say. He's an incel. That doesn't mean anything.
Now, I have to agree because they don't. Another thing along the lines of what you're saying is they're saying that his car was moving towards the highway, the connector between Moscow and Pullman at about 10:46 or 56 or whatever. But they never said or are able to confirm or verify that he got on that connector and went to Moscow because they don't know where he was between 3 and 5. They admitted that. And so they're insinuating that he got on that connector, but it's speculation. It's just thought, like you said. It's just
Yeah,
thought. It's not what
it's a theory.
right.
And
It's
here's
not it's
here's
not
the
something written in
problem.
stone to where you go and arrest somebody, bursting their family home, breaking glass and stuff. Come on, you don't do that.
You know what else is really interesting is when you read the documents that they've given us. They argue that they see a white Elantra in the area, right?
Right,
Doing a
right,
3-point turn, turning onto Queen Road from King Road. They describe this car, but yet when they describe the vehicle fleeing the scene, it isn't from the camera that
right,
showed the 3-point turn. That camera has to show every single vehicle that enters and exits, every one, because Queen Road is unexitable.
right.
Okay.
That's right. That's what I said.
You
And
would have to sneak around the upper parking lot. Based on what
yeah,
they're saying, he would have had to go out a different way, and he would have had to find his way over to Walenta Drive. And if I'm not mistaken, you can only get out of the Queen Road residence by going to King, making a right, and then hitting Taylor Road and making a right or left.
it's true. You're
Right?
right, because going the apartment way where Ian Harsh lives I think it's a cul-de-sac, or there's no
Yeah,
exit there.
I'm going to
And
bring it up
but
now.
why would this man drive his own car to a crime scene anyway? I mean, just to say that Brian Kohlberger drove his own car to a house that's busy like that all the time, it's and killed all these people. It's just, to me, it's just ignorant to tell us this, because I mean, it's just not. I mean, even whether you're a criminal or not, you're not gonna drive your own car to go do dirt. I mean, men don't even cheat in their own car on their wives. So who's gonna go and well, some of them do probably, but I'm just saying. Usually, when somebody's going to commit a heinous crime, a felony, or something that can get you the chair, you're just gonna drive up to their house in your car and then drive away with all he had to lose, with all that he had to lose.
You know what's funny about that point you're making? Is all of these people in the media and all these little people that are sheep that follow their voice, they all use Brian's criminology education against him. But if you're going to claim to me that this guy was a superstar and could clean up every trace of DNA, right? He
Right,
could get in
right,
a neighborhood like that without being seen. You can't catch him on any cameras, right?
right, right.
You mean to tell me this guy was that brilliant but stupid enough to
Exactly.
use his car and bring his phone with him on a night he's going to go kill 4 young people?
Yeah,
He
that's
was that
exactly
dumb to use his own car and bring his own cell phone with him.
right, right. And he
I
had that
mean,
much. He had that much military training or whatever
yeah.
to be able to
And his
to do
education,
this in about 8 minutes.
what is your first name? I know we call you the Hard Truth, but
Well, I'm not sure I want to disclose it right now and right
oh,
here.
okay.
You put me on the spot.
Well, I don't want to just keep calling you Hard.
No, HT is good. HT.
Okay, HT.
No, I'm not hard. Just the truth is hard, not me.
Well, here's another thing: is Brian Kohlberger's specialty in his criminology degree were electronics and IT, not DNA. How is it he fails in the murder of all the IT aspects, but scores 100 on the DNA? How does he do that?
Okay, what do you mean he scored 100 on all the technology?
Well, there's no DNA in his car from the victims. There's no trace of any DNA or any connection to Brian Kohlberger at all.
Oh, okay, I got you. I see what you're saying.
How does he accomplish that? But he's too stupid not to use his own car and his own phone.
Yeah, yeah. And then they showing us a stock photo, so that's just not that's not gonna work. But it worked on day one. All of the propaganda, it worked on day one. And by the time all this other stuff started being leaked out, people, it's already engraved in people's mind that this guy did it. And so, I mean, in a way, it did work, but it was like a little grass fire. It burned real big and scary for about 10 minutes. And then after that, everybody was scratching their heads and saying, wait a minute, and calling them back on some stuff. But I don't understand how they're just now filing these warrants to get stuff that they said they had warrants for before in November they said, and now
Well,
they're
I
talking
believe
about redacted Amazon account.
the Amazon search warrant, though, I believe came about at the same time they searched the parents' home. That was talked about then.
Okay,
That was
well,
part. It
why
was
in
part
this?
of the
Okay, let
narrative
me
then.
put this article. Let me put this article back up there. Hold on, hold on.
Even from an observed, there's no observed and there's no electronic confirmation of his presence at that home at all.
At all.
And that in itself, when the police officer says, I think you just dropped. Did you drop, HT?
Huh?
Oh, there you are. I'm sorry. In the PCA, it's full of the cops' opinions. It's, it's my experience that criminals turn their phone off before they commit a crime. But that doesn't identify Brian Kohberger. So throw that out. That's not probable cause. Throw it away.
Right.
The other one is we have images of an automobile, a white sedan, that we identified as a 2011 to 2013. Throw that out because that's not true. This is a 2015. And also the fact that there's 22,000 cars in Idaho that are a white Elantra means that isn't a fact that establishes Brian's presence at all. So two of the main arguments are completely unable to establish a fact that this kid was likely involved.
Well,
completely. And the third argument is transfer DNA on the knife sheath.
Yeah, that's just something that I feel like is going to hurt the prosecution later on. That they're telling this. It's going to
they make an alibi with everything they accuse him of. They create an alibi. An example of that is he was a stalker. And then they go back and they say Brian Kohberger was traveling at that night, right? Then his phone went off the air, but blah, blah, blah. Then they come out and tell you, well, on 12 other occasions, one of them even included all of them were done at the same time. So they admit that there were 12 separate trips that Brian made, similar trips, similar locations, similar time of evening and AM morning, right? And one of them where his phone was off.
Right.
My point is, then a neighbor tells you the guy would vacuum at 4 a.m. He was always up late in the morning, right? So they're creating an alibi for the guy in their accusation. When they say those 12 trips were proved he's stalking, it really isn't. It proves nothing.
I said the same thing months ago. I said, hey, you alibiing this guy because you gave this tight timeline that only G.I. Joe could really get in there, a Navy SEAL. And then if that doesn't work out, your whole case falls through because you've already locked Dylan in to given times that she woke up 4 o'clock. You locked yourself into so many time slots right there until if any of it is moved, 15, 20 minutes, your whole case falls apart because your PCA doesn't work at all anymore. Right. It's built around that.
Did you ever, I never really, I try to tell a few streamers that I'm close with not to get involved in those Linda Lane videos. All those videos of showing the car driving around, blah, blah, blah. And I tried to stay away from all of that because I thought it was a distraction, and I think it really is. But if in fact that video is true, it shows a car that to me looks like the DoorDash driver looking for a place to deliver his food.
Yeah.
Doing a 3-point turn, coming into the parking lot, going out, coming like he was looking for a house. Yeah, and it doesn't to me prove that was a killer, that the car was another thing. Like when they searched the car and it was clean. How can you insist to me that the car in that video that didn't park until 4:06 and 34 seconds, right? How can you prove to me that that car is involved in a crime that happened between 4 and 4:25 when the car didn't the occupant never left the car until about 4:07, right? And then you tell me that poor Zane is on the phone at 4:12 on TikTok. You mean to tell me that's not you can't connect that? You can't prove to me that that isn't the DoorDash delivery. That fits. 4:07, you deliver the food. By 4:12, she's eating her food and she's on TikTok.
I believe everybody in there was already deceased after 3 a.m. 3:15 at the latest. I mean, by the time, I stopped even entertaining anything they said about Dylan's statement a long time ago, because I know that it's not true. And I knew from day one it's not true. And so I wasn't going to let her have me on a rat race, looking for evidence based on the statement that I know is not true. I don't even believe she was there. But that's just my personal opinion. But back to what you were saying, if you think about it, all right, everybody in that house probably was deceased by 3 a.m., 3:15. This whole 4 to 4:20 is just some mess as far as I'm concerned. But that's the problem that the prosecution has, is that if anything fits like a glove to disprove that timeline, it's over for them, because there's nowhere to go. There's nothing to tweak and say, well, I really meant to say this, or I meant to say that. No, you gave time slots, you gave definite points of time in time for something to happen. And so you can't go back and change that.
Remember when I said to you that I had my fingerprints found and they never charged me with the crime?
Yeah.
Okay. The DNA in this case is very similar to that, because the DNA is touch or transfer DNA, but it cannot tell you the time or the location, when, where that got on there. So let's just accept that Kohberger's DNA is on that sheath button. The thing that immediately destroys that is WSU recruits in the criminology department that Brian Kohberger worked in. They recruit for police officers and CSI people. That tells you that the people that investigated the crime scene are connected to the college that Brian was an assistant teacher in. Therefore, if you want to argue there's DNA of Brian's in that crime scene, go look at the crime scene video and pictures of people running around that house with windbreakers and cotton swabs and sneezing into their own arm. So my point is, you want reasonable doubt. How did the DNA get there? Well, that's simple, because a number of the individuals that inspected the crime scene were also students or affiliates of the college that Brian was a teacher in. There goes the DNA evidence in the garbage can. That means that one of the workers accidentally transferred that DNA onto the knife sheath, which is more likely when you consider the fact that there's no other evidence placing that kid at that crime. None. There's no evidence of DNA after the crime. There's no blood. There's no hair. There's no microscopic particles. There's no dog hair anywhere connected to Brian Kohberger. And that means his vacuum cleaner, his broom, his comb, his drains.
Okay, now let me ask you this now. Let me ask you this. Let's go back from the DNA on the sheath, and let's go all the way back to just the sheath itself, okay? Whether it had DNA on it or not, just the sheath. And I want to ask you this. Where did the idea to leave that sheath come from? I mean, why, if you're going to leave a calling card, why the sheath? And whose idea was that? And who would have the mentality to leave a knife sheath there? I'm not talking about.
Can I say what I thought always? I always thought the knife sheath was a defensive weapon one of the girls may have had, and that got taken from them.
I'm saying,
when I was young, I had sisters. I had stepsisters.
Yeah, but that's a big knife.
Yeah, but
that K-bar is not
my
small.
My one stepsister carried a hunting knife with her when she hitchhiked.
Maybe that's some country thing, and
it's just an idea. I'm not saying that this is true.
But I know that K-bar. I mean, that thing, the blade alone is a little more than a foot long. It's not a little.
No, I don't think that blade's a foot long. I think it's an 8 or 10
Yes, it is.
Is it?
Yes, it is. That knife is, it's a good size. It's not something to play with. You know, it's something a woman can hurt herself on if she's not don't have the aptitude to be, handling something like that. And so
Okay, the
I
blade
just
is 7 inches on that, plus the handle. So you got to figure 4. Yeah, you're right. You're right there. 11, 12-inch knife.
I told you
Yeah.
it's
No,
long.
I
It's
just look.
long.
Yeah,
And guess what? It got some weight on it.
it's intimidating too.
Mace is so much faster for a woman. Instead of
Well,
carrying
the
something that
reason I say that
I'm gonna drop it
here,
and cut my foot off.
here's
You
my
know,
reasoning. They said the sheath was placed under the victim. They used that word placed
because it was
specifically.
right.
Where would you place your knife sheath if you wanted it out of your way? You might slide it under your thigh or under your butt and sit on it. Right?
But why would you want to get your sheath out of the way? You're in
Because you had someone
somebody's
come in that
house.
room and you were hearing noises in the house and you were scared.
Are you talking about the female?
Yeah, the 2 victims. I think the blade was owned by one of the 2 victims in that room.
No, I don't see it. Cause I know if Xana
That's
had
okay.
a knife up in there, Xana might have came up out of there alive. I don't believe Xana had not one piece of weapon, because if she had a knife or even a mindset to even have a knife like that, I don't know. She might have made it up out of there.
She
I
might
mean,
have.
the fact that nobody made it out of there lets me know it's more than one person in there doing the killing. Okay, I just know that. And then, I mean, that's my opinion, that it's more than one person.
I
Not
think more than
only,
one person committed this crime too, and I think that's how she was disarmed. Listen, I don't know many girls that are in college or young people that don't have some kind of a knife or something that
I
they
don't
would
know.
have
I
to
don't know
protect
any
themselves in their own
female
home.
that would have a knife that size. That's not to say that a female would not have a knife,
Right.
especially a switchblade, something you could put in your purse or in your back pocket, if you don't use purses. But a woman will have like a switchblade, something she can close, and something she can conceal in her purse, something she can handle quick, because a woman, to be honest, whoever I'm fighting will take that knife away from me if I can't handle it. They're just going to take it from me. So I got to have a knife I can handle, a switchblade or something small that'll fit in my little pill drop purse. A woman is not, and how's a woman going to walk around with a knife that's
No, she
a
wouldn't walk
foot
around with
long?
it. No, I'm not saying she carried it in her purse.
Mhm.
I'm saying that she kept it in her room is like somebody gave it to her, a boyfriend or somebody gave her a blade. That's the blade she had. It was intimidating and scary. She kept it for her own self-protection. I don't believe here's why I say that is it makes some kind of screwed up sense when you think about a young girl in a bedroom like that to have something like that under her pillow. Then they hear noises, someone's here, and they draw the knife, but there's more than one person, and she gets disarmed. She gets killed by her own knife, and that becomes now this crime scene is now with this knife completely involved. That's what I think happened. I'm just saying it's an idea. I don't think I can't prove it, but that knife is an unusual weapon to bring to a mass murder. Just is.
They
Why
probably
wouldn't you bring a
didn't.
small caliber gun?
They didn't. They didn't. I'm just saying they probably didn't bring a K-bar knife. That's just what we've been sold.
Right.
But
It could be. You're right. You're right. It could be a lie
but
by the
I don't
police.
think. I think somebody in law enforcement, and not necessarily the police department, because law enforcement, that's a vast agency that covers a lot of different small agencies. I believe somebody in law enforcement put the sheath there, and I believe they put the DNA on it, because if he didn't leave it, somebody had to plant it. You
And that
know,
theory, I've
and
also agree with that theory. And
if
as
he
much as
didn't leave it, somebody had to plant it. And I don't believe anybody in that house had the was had the wherewithal to have a weapon or something like that. Now Xana's dad came and locked her doors a week before it happened, so he felt the danger. And Xana, she seemed like she could handle herself, and so
well, if it wasn't planted by the police and it wasn't something that one of the girls thought she could have, for security, right? Then that leaves the option that the person that committed the crime did this. or
So
used it or
now,
brought
so
it, and I just don't see you taking that knife is made to be attached to your belt.
now
That sheath
we,
is not supposed to. You don't carry that knife around, and now you need two hands to open it. It's not
that's
how
how
that
we
knife
know.
works.
That's how we know it's a lie. That's how we know all what.
Right.
That's how we know it's a lie, because the person or people that came in the house and did that, I mean, they would have to be pre-planning to use something in that house if it's there. That means that when they came there, if they couldn't find the sheep, they wouldn't have been able to leave it as a calling card. How did they know when they came in the house that there would be a sheep that they could leave and plant, that somebody had one in there? We would have to reach and reach and reach and reach to
Yep.
get that to work.
Well,
You
I
see
also
what I'm
said that
saying?
Ann should subpoena. She should subpoena the records of the evidence rooms of the state police and any of the police agencies involved. Subpoena their records for a K-bar knife and make sure that knife is still in the custody of the police.
All right. All right. Whoa. Can you hear me now? What's going on? Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Okay, thank you, Uncle Benny's. Let me give you a shout out. Hold on, let me go back. Shout out to Uncle Benny. Okay. Now let's see. This article, the reason that I brought it up is because there are some military aspects to this that, as far as I'm concerned, there are a lot of military undertones that, I mean, maybe we shouldn't try to ignore. Okay, it says 5 military veterans who became serial killers. Okay, we got Kopaka that was swatted, right? Remember? And then we got this military knife. We've got a PCA that says whoever did this likely had to have some military training or background. We have that, right? All right, Les, tell your pooch I said I'm sorry. All right. Leslie Vasquez. All right. Shout out to Aurora Rain. 1212. That's right. Welcome. No, I didn't boot you, Sergeant Friday. I just need to put one thing on this screen at a time, you know? Shout out to Rex X Xer. All right. Let's see what else we got going on in here. All right, you need to be good, Sergeant Friday. You need to be good. Now, let me see where I was. Now, this is 5 people. We know Son of Sam was in the United States military, and he ended up doing what he did. And they argue that he didn't do the murders, but he did some of them. Maybe not all of them, but he did some of them. Now, starting in 76, Berkowitz embarked on a crime spree that lasted over a year. He had military training, and he told him that he said the dog, the next door. Berkowitz confessed under questioning that he was the killer and claimed that he was doing so under orders from his neighbor Sam Carr's black Labrador dog. He later admitted the story wasn't true, but he'd been dubbed the Son of Sam killer by the New York papers, and the name stuck. All right, and so he had mental problems, and he had military background. Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer. All right, after graduation from high school in 1969, Gary Ridgway enlisted in the Navy, served on board a supply ship in Vietnam, and saw combat when he transported supplies upriver in patrol boats. He later claimed that his fixation on sex workers began during his time in the Navy. All right, Gary Ridgway. And we know he was just a killing machine. Huh? I was in a holding cell with the Son of Sam's son. Please don't say that. Sergeant Friday. You need to put an inmate number behind your name. Any ruler, we agree. I have saved notes and pics, bought notebook easier for me. Multiple had a sheaf left in Florida or near there, not in a. That's what I was looking for. Andy, let me give you a shout out. That's what I was looking for today. I was looking for other cases where there was a sheath involved. Maybe they got it off of somebody else's, got it off somebody else made that move. You know what I'm saying? All right, Terry. Terry Sloop gifted a Heart Truth membership. All right, thank you, Terry. Thank you so much. I think I made 6 this week. That's awesome. That's awesome. Much love to you. Much love to you, Terry. All right, it was gifted to LA. I'm sure LA is happy about that. All right. All right. Thank you so much. Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Congratulations, LA. And thank you, Terry. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, where was I? Okay, we're going down, showing how these people had military training. Jeffrey Dahmer enlisted in the Army in 1979 and trained as a medical specialist at Fort Sam, Houston, Texas, after being stationed in Baumholder, West Germany, as a combat medic. I'm just saying, this guy, he, they have military training. They have a sense of hunting and, the hunter and the prey and that type of mentality. All of them had that. I think we should look at the sheep and the DNA separate for a minute, is what I'm saying. All right. Thank you for that pretty gift card, Terry. Let me see if I can find a banner for you. See what I can do. Do you see where I'm going? Because when they keep telling us about all of these great things that this killer did, everybody's thinking military or law enforcement, same thing. Everybody's thinking that. Everybody's thinking that. And so here we have a military knife. And maybe there was no DNA on it. Whoever left it, they got away with that calling card. But now it's being used to, put somebody up, It's just showing that the military aspect might be a clue that nobody's pursuing because Brian Kohlberger was not in the military. Okay, he was trying for police, not military. And so there's a lot of military, the essence of the military involved in this case. And then we had a veteran that was killed, was swatted. And so there's a strong military undertone here. We can't keep just overlooking it. Now let's look at who's after Jeffrey. Dennis Rader, BTK. He was in the military. The Air Force, that's even worse. After dropping out of college, Dennis Rader joined the Air Force and served from 1966 to 1970. He did his basic training at Lackland Air Force Base, Texas, and later served at Kadena Air Base in Okinawa, Japan and Tachikawa Air Base near Tokyo. All right, so hey, all of them have military background. Randy Kraft, the freeway killer. Randy Kraft enrolled in ROTC while a student at Claremont Men's College in California and joined the Air Force shortly after graduation in 1968. After basic training, he was stationed at Edwards Air Force Base, California, where he supervised the painting of test planes. All right, so all of them have that in common. And so we thinking mass killer, serial killer, mass killer, serial killer. All of these are serial killers. But what are the odds that somebody that does mass murder will also have that, that military tone? What do you think about that? I just can't figure it out. I mean, YBK, shout out to Chief. Okay. My answer to that is they had somebody that they could say was acting suspicious. They had it in the papers. They said because of they were investigating him because of his disturbing behavior around the time of the events. They said that in the paper. They said that in the newspaper, in the media. They're telling us why and how he became a suspect. He wasn't getting along with the students and the professor that he was working for as a TA. And they had a complaint from some young girls on him. Even though the complaint didn't go anywhere, it was enough to put with the, can't get along with the teacher. And they made a cocktail and Papa Rogers was born. You see what I'm saying? We got somebody over here that we don't like. He's trying to shine a little too bright. He's trying to shine a little too bright. We don't like that. Thinking he's better than us, trying to rise above us, thinking he's better than us. And so we can't let him show up as teacher. Right? I mean, what would you say to that? What would you say to all of these people would you say that somebody that's been in the military they really think that they have a right to kill people more so than somebody that's never been in the service? Wouldn't you say that? All right, what do y'all think? Jack D and Sigma Chi. Okay, why do y'all think Jack D and Sigma Chi? Shout out to Deb and Les. Why do you think that? Why do you think that? I think everybody pretty much suspects the frats at this point. I know AF kept saying the frats. And I hear other people saying, it's the frats. And we know that Hunter Johnson and Ethan were at the house all the time. Both of them were familiar with the house, who lived there and what went on. I don't think Ethan knew any more about 1122 King Road than Hunter did. All right. Yeah, I agree. How could Jack D pull all of that off? All right. Denny, his professor would probably have enough clout to get Brian on a short list. Yep. All right. Shout out to Denny. Yep, that's true. That's true. Hunter was there just as much as Ethan, if not more. If not more. Because remember when they said when nobody was home, Hunter was there. So he was there even when Ethan was not there. Right? I'm just saying, this is the way I see it. I feel that whoever left that sheath, that's a part of their personality. Because you could have framed. Okay, here's the question I want to ask. Here's the question I want to ask, and hopefully you will, answer in the chat. Here's the question I want to ask. Why didn't whoever left the sheath just leave the knife, leave a knife, a K-bar knife? Why didn't whoever left the sheath just leave the knife and say they had the murder weapon? Okay, I'm just listening. I'm waiting. Somebody call in. Somebody call in. What y'all scared of? Come on. Let me put this in the comments. Put this link. Just click on the link and call in. Ladies, we need to hear from you too. Come on, somebody. Jack D had time to drive to Coeur d'Alene and return his father's white Elantra, then return before discovering. Shout out to Terry. Hey, did everybody parents have a Hyundai? It seemed like everybody had one. It seems like everybody had one of those cars. Is it just me? I mean, do we believe one person could do this? All right, we got somebody. We got Les here.
Can you hear me?
Let us know what's going on, Les.
Okay, I've never called in before anywhere, so can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Hello, Miss Joy.
Hello. Hey, Les.
Hey,
Good to see you. Good to see you.
So, you were asking about why they would leave the sheath in the night, and I just said, like, I never thought of that before. But okay, so my theory about the planted sheath, and it may not be a good one, but weren't at least Payne or Fry, weren't they like hunting coyotes or something that same day? I just think it would be easy for one of them to plan it, but I never thought about the actual where the K-bar knife was. I don't think the K-bar was a weapon. I think they just said that to just throw us off. I mean, it could be the sheath could belong to one of them. So
right, exactly. And so, I mean, we had problems with that from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
We had problems with that from the beginning. And so, because it was so hard to believe that somebody would be dumb enough to leave something with their own DNA on it. We had problems believing it from the beginning. And then,
go ahead.
To just get, just do what it just was a problem from the beginning to believe it. And now they're moving it around in the bed. They can't get the story straight. But I always wondered, why just leave the sheet so you can go around and just pin it on somebody, But at the same time, if they would have left the actual knife, then it could have been proven that that knife didn't make the wounds, or I don't know. I just don't understand. If you're gonna leave the sheet, why not just leave a murder weapon on the floor somewhere? You
Well,
know, like you dropped it and rushed out. Why just leave the sheath and not the knife?
right. Did now this it's been what almost a year, so I don't remember everything we were told at first, but wasn't it let's see, wasn't it said the first time they checked the house out, they didn't find it, and that was when the body cam was on. But then the second
Right,
time where the body cam wasn't on, they supposedly found it. And
right,
when it says the sheath was placed there, I was listening to what Sergeant Friday said. Even if, they had it there, the girls had it there for protection and they hid it under their butt cheek or whatever, that's not
right.
is being placed there.
That's not this right. And
It,
where it was, they keep moving it. You
mm-hmm,
know, you can't have a crime scene photo with it in two places. So we know right there that it's shady, that it was planted because it's been to moved already at least once. It's a big difference between Maddie's left side, the side that when you come in from the bedroom door, it was very specific. And then later on, now it's between the comforter and Maddie's body. And so to me, these two totally different places in the bed. And
mm-hmm.
the second explanation, you don't have to provide any pictures of that. It was under her.
So
They realized
exactly,
they won't have to. I'm sorry.
no, I said exactly, no, that's exactly right. And then as I'm listening to you and Sergeant Friday going over the whole thing again, it's like I keep going back to the videos you made earlier this week about Steve G. It's like, and I know that we're not talking about this tonight, but it just he I don't know. I just don't get it. Except for like you said, he wants BK to be guilty so he can you know sue somebody. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then I don't know. I just think that they don't want people to believe or know that his daughter and Maddie could be involved in anything illegal.
Right.
So never drugs, drugs, drugs. I mean, obviously doesn't make them, oh, they deserve to die. But I think that's why they're another reason they're going with this ridiculous story. I
Right.
think,
Hello?
hey, are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you.
No, I think he knows. Um, yeah, I think they know.
Right.
So, now what hearing is coming up on the 26th? Is that to dismiss it?
Well, for the challenge that Antella made to the grand jury,
Oh,
it,
okay,
it
okay.
could get tossed. It could get tossed. It
Well, let's
could
hope
get
I'm
tossed.
right. But you know what I was
And I
thinking? If they do dismiss it and Brian's released, that doesn't mean that they can't charge him again. And that doesn't mean that he's safe on the streets with Steve G around.
right. He will have, but they could just turn around and walk him right back in the door on new charges.
Exactly. So,
Okay, but here's what I think. I think that in his mind, Mr. G thinks that Kaylee, was a star, and
yeah.
it's more sensationalism around, her being, unalive by Koberger. That. How do you say it? That's more acceptable for the public than to
Yeah.
say this is just some guy that they're getting to get us the public past this case.
Mhm.
That's all. But we really don't know who killed my daughter. They don't care anything about my daughter. It would be like that. If so, he has to adopt that narrative, or he'll start thinking about it and he'll start getting pissed off. Like he used to.
Yep.
Like he
Yep.
used to.
Well, you know how you were saying, well, everybody's saying that they did it backwards, the whole charging Brian. And, I think they always planned to use him as a patsy, but the reason they jumped the gun and arrested him is to just get the heat off of them and didn't realize
right.
that it was going to backfire on them when there was nothing found in his car or apartment, etc. I'm surprised they
Right.
didn't lie about that.
Well, they didn't get a chance. I believe that it was coming. It was coming fast, that they were getting ready to, get their hands on his car. But what happened is, when they, after Copacabana, that was, I'm sure, a distraction. But by the time they got around to searching his car or putting something in his car, he was gone.
Okay.
Okay. By the 13th of December, he was in Colorado. So he must have left Pullman, what, the 11th, the 10th or the 11th, he was gone. And so when by the time he got to Indiana, I believe right then and there, they were planning to do it, but his father was in the car. I made a video on this.
Mm-hmm.
That changed the game.
But do you think that's where they got his father's DNA from? If they did really get it from him?
No. I think they got it when they went in the house. I think when they went in the house, that's when they got it.
Somebody had made a point once, is that they were so concerned when Brian went to Pennsylvania, they were so concerned with him taking his trash and putting it in the neighbor's trash can.
Right.
Just get the trash out of that trash can.
Right.
Be the one, if he's trying to hide it, that would have something in it.
That's right. That
makes sense.
All right, Uncle Benny, can you speak? Let us hear what you have to say. Good to see you. Can you hear us, Uncle Benny?
Do I need to hang up so you can hear him?
No, you shouldn't have to.
Okay.
I don't know. Well, if you can, speak up, Uncle Benny. Yeah, I can have both of you in here.
Okay.
All right. So I really agree with most of what I've been hearing lately. And it's no disrespect to the G's, because I understand they lost a child, and I don't really want to harp on what they're doing right or wrong. But I mean, the times that I've spoken out on it, to me, it had just gotten ridiculous.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I had to go into StreamYard settings and change my microphone or something.
Oh, okay. Welcome.
Yeah. Hey, HT, I love your channel. I really, you're not crazy, and you're not the only one who thinks like this. You're right on. I really appreciate your videos. And they come up, I'm like, I got to watch that one. I can't watch the ones that are like 3 hours long though, but the ones you make are, I mean, they're great.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It's great that you're the title of your channel, you ask hard questions. It's great, because they ought to be asked. I've asked hard questions from the beginning that people don't like to hear, even, and I always bring it up. It's like, why did we never, out of a campus with 11,000 cell phone cameras, because there's 11,000 students, right? Not counting even the locals. And that little geographic setting is like a little dome. There's buildings that are 2 stories that are next to it. Not a single person was curious enough to take one picture of bodies exiting that property, like in body bags. Didn't see it. That's weird. I've seen that lots of, all the way back to, let's think of the Tate LaBianca murders. They filmed them coming out on stretchers and body bags and things like that. It's like, this isn't like we can't handle it, but it was just, but they show blood coming down the wall, but you can't, not one person would be a looky-loo and trying to get a shot of that. Everybody filming cameras everywhere. It's ridiculous. And not one person did that, and the crime of the century type of a thing. It's just ridiculous. And so anyway, I could go a whole rabbit hole down that, with this whole thing being many of the players being like, this is a psyop, and I don't want to get into that tonight necessarily. But I'm just telling you where I'm coming from. Like, I have a lot of
yeah, we brought that up already. That a lot of people are starting to say that
they're starting to now. I'm glad more and more people are starting to think Kohberger is innocent, or at the very most had a limited role in this or limited knowledge of this, and he's being framed. But 6 months ago wasn't like that at all. You were really, everybody wanted to hang him high like tomorrow. So, and but it's starting to fall apart in a lot of ways. And it'll, it's just gonna, the wagon runs fastest at the bottom of the hill. It's going to get worse for the prosecution if they don't start ponying up, and we'll find out, more
I said
things.
the exact same thing. It's getting ready to get worse and worse.
Yep. But I've always had a problem with Mr. Gonsalves wearing this hat that says hex on it.
Right.
Witchcraft, right?
It is.
Right. That's what I said in my video. I was like, and where I come from, hex means curse.
That's right. And why does I will say this finally happened. I saw one tear coming down Mrs. Gonsalves' face. I mean, all the interviews, all the family never saw a single tear. That always bothers me. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I just look, it's like all these little data points in and of themselves, they don't mean anything, but when you start putting them all together, it adds up to something. I don't know what it is. Why is Koberger's apartment building have the as above, so below, diamond on it? Could also be a Freemason symbol with the G in the middle. It's a building G,
Yeah.
That's weird.
All right, Les, your camera's on.
Sorry, babe.
It's apartment 201. We had event 201 before the pandemic. Remember that?
You are thinking on my line of thinking.
Yeah. I mean, that's all that stuff still is in the back of my mind. I mean, a lot more things are starting to make me think, well, maybe some people really were murdered, but I don't know. And then it's weird. All 4 of them were cremated. All of them were cremated. Well, that's convenient. No funeral, it's just bizarre stuff.
I was shocked about that now.
So you have to ask yourself, I guess we are talking about it, but why would they do that? Something like it? Well, they've really, the media sphere has really gone to town in wanting to shame and make the sleuther community look like ridiculous, and not worth listening to. Well, why would they do that? Well, because there's a lot of crimes besides murders that people, they get investigative skills. All it takes is a good sleuther to crack open something they don't want cracked open. It's a way to also maybe get laws passed that prevent dissemination of certain information that heretofore we've had access to through the Freedom of Information Act. Well, they might tighten some things down. I don't think it's any, I know Harsh, he's a channel I like. Harsh, he talked about it being, I don't think it's a conspiracy because, and I like him, by the way. But I think it's conspiracy because they wouldn't do this experiment or whatever. But I comment, it's like, it's not going to be an experiment. They've done it's social engineering. They've done the research for decades. This would be an operation. It's not an experiment.
Right.
This isn't. They're not looking at. They may have contingency plans, but they're not like trying to gather data. It's like they're doing something. They have it all worked out. They planned it for years. They're experts, and it's very bizarre. Most people that I know of can't wrap their mind around stuff like that because it's just so far out of. It's like, well, how can you get all these people to agree to this? I mean, it's like any of the conspiracies from 9/11 to moon landing and whatever. Well, there's compartmentalization, there's blackmail. There's people, most people are whores. And what I mean by that is that they have a price, right? So, you promise somebody $10 million in their own island in Southeast Asia. What will they do for it? New identity. And who knows?
You don't have to promise 1/1,000,000th of that.
Right.
If depending on where you are, I don't, a few dollars.
Hey, it could be, hey, I'll wipe your record. I'll give you a new start. It could be
a key of cocaine.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
It wouldn't take anything near that. I mean, unless you get ready to wipe out a whole country for somebody.
Can I add something to that?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go off like that.
No, I love it. What you're saying is really good. And I was just going to sit and listen because I've already talked. But crisis actors are a thing. And I'm always suspicious of that.
No, I just feel like there's a problem with how much military is involved in this. And then we got a veteran that died that everybody's saying is not connected. Maybe he was the only person that could stop them from prosecuting Brian. They were on Brian by the time that man was swatted. They were on Brian so hard, it's not funny.
Did you know that? I don't remember the police chief's name, but did you know that he went out to Virginia for like FBI training before this happened for a couple months?
Yeah.
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 That's weird.
And yeah.
Interesting.
And it's all networking. You can tell that he was, it was a lot of buddying up, because if you look in the PCA, he's putting the FBI in on everything, but he's putting them in unofficially. Okay. He talked to somebody in the FBI, and then he came back and used the cast or whatever, and came to these conclusions himself. Okay. Somebody from the FBI gave him a tip about Brian's name, not a report, a tip. I mean, everything about the FBI is unofficial, but he's claiming it. So, in other words, he got friends over there. He got friends over there.
Hey, I wanted to, you were having the audio and the frozen trouble when I typed something about this, but we were talking about the sheath, and something that's always bothered me, it was found under one of the victims, right?
Right.
And to me, it would be more believable if it was found on top of them or on the floor or something like this. It almost seems like it was under them. That makes it, it's almost like trying to prove that like it had to be the killer's sheath. It wasn't there before or something like that. It had to be there because it's under the victim, It's just a little too convenient. And
the reason why they changed from saying it was on Maddie's left side to now saying that it was under Maddie is because they have to produce crime scene photos, body cam of a sheath somewhere remotely close to what they reported. And they can't do that. So they had to change it to where when we go to trial or go to this preliminary hearing, remember they changed it just before the preliminary hearing, they said, well, it was under Maddie. So you can look at all the crime scene photos you want. You wouldn't see it because it was under Maddie.
Yeah.
They slipped because they should have said that from the beginning.
Well, and they didn't, and that they can't walk that back now. And so that's a problem.
Yeah, they can't walk it back.
If I was the defense attorney, I'd really hammer that, because that's, that does speak to it was planted, because it wasn't even there,
Yeah, it wasn't. And then they keep telling on themselves, saying later we saw the sheet, later we saw the sheet. Well, if you're trying to sneak and do this, you don't need to keep saying you saw it later, just go on and confess if you're going to go that far down the train track. We know what happened. We know how you did.
So other than what I pick up from your videos or Harsh, I really haven't been following it like I was initially. So I don't know when, I know the trial thing kept getting pushed back. What are we looking at now? Like a year from now?
Well, God only knows, because they don't have to rush and do anything now that he waived that speedy trial.
Right.
He can sit in there for 3 years, 4 years, 1 year. It depends on when they want to put on their next monkey show. It's on them, because he waived the speedy trial. They could take forever if they want to.
Well, nobody wants to sit in jail in their right mind, So why do you think one could say he waived a speedy trial? Because, if you are guilty and you are sentenced, you get time credited for what you were waiting in jail for anyway. But
right. Some of it, you get some credit.
What do you think about it? I tend to think, well, that makes sense. It's actually smart. And it's probably under the advice of Ann Taylor that, like, look, we need time to really get on top of this and all the little nuances and things. It's going to take a lot more time. And if we don't, we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants, and you're risking your life,
I think Brian realized that this is now his career, being infamous, and that he can just let go of the university, cushy job as a professor somewhere. That's gone out the window. And so now he's making money right now, and he can make much more money in the future as with the infamy associated with this case. And so now he has no problem playing to the public. Oh, he wants a private hearing. Yeah, sure you do. You know, your family was about to throw you away when all this stuff came out in January and February, and you couldn't get a bond. Okay, so now they're playing into it because all of them see the money now. They see the money. He get money now. These girls are sending Brian money at that jail. Believe me, they're sending him money. It's the ones hollering, "I love Brian Koberger." They sending the mail and they put money on this book. So he knows this is his job now. As somebody in the spotlight, somebody that's supposed to have some kind of criminal genius, and somebody that's, you know, supposed to be so shrewd that they could do this, and somebody that would be that dangerous that they would actually kill 4 people. So he understands that this is his new role in life. You know,
Right.
and he's playing it the way he has to, you know.
What did you think of Crime Circus's angle, this video he made, and connecting it to the Odinism stuff, and Gonsalves's brother who was in jail for murder or something like that? Did you watch that?
Okay, I haven't gotten to that one yet. I've been hearing about it. I think a couple people emailed it to me. But I'm gonna tell you what I do agree with that I heard Drip Drop say, and he was talking about Kopaka, and he was saying it was merely hours between the time that Kopaka was, you know, unalive and the time that they were on looking for Brian, all in Indiana, pulling him over. I think it was like 6 or 7 hours, if I'm not mistaken. He was right about that. He was right about that, and he was right to point that out. It's powerful because this is you can trace when they really were on Brian's trail and how it just kept escalating and escalating until they finally broke down the front door. You can follow it. You can follow the energy, you know, and I just believe that for that reason, it has to have something to do with this case. I don't know what, but it has to be.
Well, one thing's for sure, it's a fascinating case. I mean, right from the get-go, there was like 19 different possible scenarios of who done it. You know, you had the Reddit thing with it was really detailed with all the different frat stuff and the dynamics, and that Ethan walked in on these. Do you remember this? He walked in on these 2 guys, and they were having a homosexual thing going on. And do you remember this?
I heard about it. It's just,
well, then you got the church there and that situation. Then you had like the Kaylee's ex-boyfriend, you know, is like when she was leaving, and that's usually the most dangerous time, you know, if you leave a narcissist,
right.
you know, and
Yeah.
just the proximity and how he wasn't answering the phone, and how just a lot of odd things about that situation. Then you had the Showalter guy who took off for Africa. I mean, there's just so many things. It's like you couldn't have written this like in a murder mystery book better.
Right.
You know, and that's too weird that all of these things just, you know, it almost seems like we're going to drop a bomb on the truth community, which who knows how big it is. This, I don't even like calling it a community. Everybody's an individual YouTuber, you know, it just happens to be a bunch of them. And they just go into town, all these different rabbit holes, you know, and it just kind of, if you ever been to a stock lake and you throw out a feed on the surface of the water, and all of a sudden it's like really still, and then all the fish just go nuts, just churning the water. It's almost like all these storylines were thrown out there all at once, you know.
Okay,
then you have
hold on, Uncle Benny. I want to give a shout out to Denny. He just gifted 5 Heart Troop memberships. Thank you so much. That's 6 new members today. I mean, wow, this channel's really growing fast. Thank you so much, Denny. Let me give you a woohoo. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. I give you some green hearts to match your card.
Then you had that Enan Harsh guy next door.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I made a list at one point because I called in a T-Rev, if you remember him.
Yeah.
All right. Much love, Denny. Thank you.
I talked on this show quite a few times, and it just, I remember one time I had a list. I forget how many there were. It was in the double digits, all the different plausible, you know, whodunit angles, you know. It was worse. It's more than the game of Clue. It was bizarre.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, you got the people that called in the noise complaints. That was another thing.
Yeah, that's another one. Now you've got this. I don't know a whole lot about this, but the Demetrius and this chick angle.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I mean, there's just so many.
Right.
It's too weird to me. Something wrong with that, you know. Anyway, listen,
don't forget about the camera, the tripod in the woods. The guy from University of Idaho posted that in his real name, where he said he saw the girl running from the house at 2 a.m.
I have to look into that. It's vaguely familiar. I don't remember that very much.
Yeah,
so much has gone under the water under the bridge now. You know, there's so much has gone downstream, is what I mean. I have to.
No, I have that post in a couple of videos. I have the actual post in a couple of videos.
Well, listen, I'm way past my. I got to go up the Wooden Hill to Bedfordshire now, so I appreciate your channel. And,
thank you so much for coming on and being willing to call in.
Oh yeah, well Leslie called in before me. I was trying to get something wrong with my I couldn't get it working, but you were like asking people to call, and I knew there was only like 30 people, and it's easy to be gun shy to do it, but once you've done it, it's easy. So anybody that has a thought, you know, just break the ice and call sometime, you know. But I wanted to call in to participate, and but I'll leave it there now.
Okay, thank you very much. And also, you guys, hold on. I want to give a shout out to Chief for a $4.99 super chat sticker. And it says, so why didn't they just put all this on Kopaka and be done with it? All right. Thank you so much, Chief. Let me make a banner for you. Thank you so much.
Good night and God bless. Thank you, Hard Truth.
Good night, Uncle Benny. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Mr. I wanted to make another comment before I get off here. Okay, so I was just thinking about what he said about the Gonsalveses and your point about how Kaylee's standing out as the star or whatever. What do you think now about the whole story about Kaylee was really hesitant to go back to Moscow that weekend? Like,
say that again.
I was just saying, like, the Gonsalveses, Christy, making a big thing about how Kaylee didn't necessarily want to go back to Moscow that weekend and how she couldn't decide. That just seems like another part of the Kaylee course.
Right. I see what you're saying. And yes, that is another thing that we really, it's just another thing on the list to make us know that, hey, somebody's not telling us the truth about who was being targeted and the reason for all of these kids to be missing like this. You know, to me, that's what comes to mind, because there's no way a person can get upset at a woman and, you know, take her life and then flee, or, you know, something like OJ and his wife. Not saying he did something, I'm just saying, you know how men do something in the heat of passion and then he'll flee when he realized what he did, and all of a sudden, you know, he came out of his rage, so to speak. Well, that's one thing. But we're talking about 4 people lost their lives. 4. Somebody was willing to kill 4 people at one time.
I think they were all targeted. I
do too.
Definitely planned to kill.
I do too.
4 people. Yeah.
Let me take this F off of here. I got too many F's on Chief's name. All right, hold on just 1 second. Yeah, it was. It was a part of it, because listen, 4 people lost their lives. Some people might try to talk themselves into killing 1 person or even 2 people if it's like these people wrong them. Maybe they feel like a couple wrong them, or 2 people that run a business or something like that. But when you talking about quadruple mass murder, 9 times out of 10, that was a hit from the streets.
Oh yeah.
And when you see how big the magnitude of it was real sloppy. You know, they went into a trap house, you know, it wasn't even a house. It was a little studio, you know, a bunch of users inside, you know. it wasn't even a home. It was just a trap. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be on a much higher scale to where you don't even know the names of the people that could have even done this. All you
Right.
know is people that work for them.
Yep, organized.
Right. And so to me, that's the only time you're gonna see a mass murder like this, because the only time they're gonna do something like that is if you stole the stash or somebody in there harmed somebody in their organization or their family.
Or they were talking.
And so I know I don't see any of the 6 people that live there at that house actually physically harming somebody. We would have known about it. The only other option is a drug hit.
Yeah, maybe like, Kaylee and Maddie were talking. Somebody slipped up and said something.
Right. Well, evidently they slipped up and said a lot they shouldn't have said, because it's a lot of drinking was going on in that town and in among these people, the usual suspects. It was a lot of drinking, alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Even if drugs weren't present, there was enough alcohol present until we know that everybody was not making the best decisions, from the time they got to school in August until things, happened. We can say that. We can say that just from the amount of alcohol. And so we got a lot of Hollywood going on with police body cams, stuff that really didn't even need to be recorded, I just feel like it's a lot of Hollywood going on. It's a lot of military tone in it. It's a lot of stuff mixed in there that, if we just pay attention, it means something.
Well, if anybody's going to find out, it's going to be you.
All right. That's how we got to talk, Les. That's how we have to talk. Girl, thank you so much for calling me.
Well, I'll talk to you another time. Have a good night.
All right. You have a good night, too. All right. Thank you so much, Les. I got this from the Inside Edition on the screen. I wanted to read and talk about some points in it also. Okay, but first, let me go back to the comments. And everybody's talking about how the people were saying they were going to get Maddie. All right. And then we got Maddie. They're saying the sheet was under Maddie. I don't think that was an accident, because whoever did it, they could say, okay, whoever planted the sheep, they could have said it was under anybody. Why did they pick Maddie? What I'm saying is, let's say the sheep was planted. Why would they plant it under Maddie? That's my question. Why would they plant it under Maddie? All right, what's going on over here in the chat? Where's everybody at? All right, Rosanna Scott. Yes, loose lips sink ships. Yeah, come on with it. Where's everybody at? Cindy, Chief. All right. Money, drugs, or snitching, Deb. That was so much fun. Okay, let's give a hand to Leslie Vasquez and Uncle Benny and Sergeant Friday for being so willing to call in and have a conversation with me when they know for a fact that I don't know what I'm doing. All right, let me find some clapping hands for that. All right, much love to you guys. And also, we still have plenty of time tonight. Anybody else want to call in and say what you got to say? We still have plenty of time. All right, that's for Leslie and Uncle Benny and Sergeant Friday. All right, where's my AF? AF feeling sick? You still online, AF? How you feeling? Don't pass out on us now. If you need to call for some help, call for some help. Shout out to B River Girl for being so live. Right. All right, much love, B River Girl. But y'all not answering my questions. I'm asking you straight up, and you're acting like you're not sure if you want to agree, you know? You acting like you're not sure if you want to agree. Oh, snap. We got a super chat from Leslie Vasquez for 20, and she's got pink hair that's turned into a heart. That's Leslie Vasquez. And what? Did AF just pop in and out on us? Please tell me that's not what he just did. Okay, and let's do one at a time. We got Les for $19.99 super chat sticker. And we have, let's see, we have my guardian angel, AF. I call in next time. HT, I've got a code. All right. I think you're being shy, AF. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the super chat sticker for 50. All right, we got my guardian angel, AF, not feeling well. Gonna have to put you on the prayer list for the cold. I don't know if that was on there or not. Now, you got to call in sooner or later, AF. So you gonna have to get over that cold. Now, let's see what we got here. I'm trying to make your shot out. I think I got it. Okay. Now, let's see where we are in the chat. Now, let's see. One made a nut. Maybe Brent Kopaka could alibi out of it. Meaning, for example, he was seen at a party, half a dozen of his friends at a party one time. Shout out to One Made a Nut. Because we need to be concerned about his two roommates, you know. Like she said, why they didn't just put it on Kopaka in the first place? Why didn't they just put it on there in the first place? This is my favorite channel in chat, and you one of my favorite people in the world, Liz. I don't know why you're not moderating, but in a way you do. You do that anyway. Audrey Cakes, thank you, Ab. Yep. Shout out to Audrey Cakes, always live in the living color. Yep. Another live one. Much love to everybody. All right, I'm going to scroll down my article right quick so we can get the talking points off of it. All right, this one is Inside Edition. Idaho murder victim sustained sharp force injury. Scene had substantial amount of blood. Police. Now, this one was published January the 20th, 2023, because we got people that are actually saying there wasn't that much blood. Some people are even saying, some people are saying there's no, that the blood coming down the wall from Xana's room is fake. Some people are saying there wasn't that much blood in the house. They've gone very far they've gone very far to convince themselves that this narrative they bought in December 30th, January the 5th, that is real. You know, you don't want to look like a fool. You've been out here on social media condemning this man. You got your torch ready to burn him at the stake. And then it turns out that he's not even guilty after you online posting all this stuff to make you look like a fool. So you have to go all the way with Kurt Kohberger and hope that it'll end as an open-ended question to where we could never prove it wasn't him. Even whether it was or not, we could never actually prove it. And so the person that didn't know what they were talking about, they never have to admit that they didn't know what they were talking about. That's what's going on right now. Anybody that'll sit there and say, listen, anybody that'll sit there and say, wait till the trial, the prosecution got more evidence, blah, blah, blah. Anybody that'll sit there and say that at this point, you don't believe Brian did it yourself. If you don't have enough to convince you one way or the other right now, you just fooling yourself. You got to lie to yourself first before you lie to somebody else. Okay? I'm going to just leave that right there for you. All right? Details redacted from the affidavit filed in Idaho were revealed in documents unsealed in Washington State. Okay? Well, they're talking about stuff that's redacted. They're talking about it right now. They're talking about it right now. Right? They're going back to saying what's redacted right now. In the September 8th, I just showed you that in the first article. All right? And so it says the sworn statement that Sergeant Dustin Baker of the Moscow Police Department provided in hopes of securing a search warrant for both the home and office of Kohberger contains details of the crime scene that were previously unknown. Now, what in the world does that mean? What does that mean? The sworn statement that Sergeant Dustin Baker, Baker of the Moscow Police Department provided in hopes of securing a search warrant for both the home and office of Kohberger contains details of the crime scene that were previously unknown. Like what? The sheath and the DNA. That's it right there. It's telling us later on we found the sheath. And so now we're compensating for that in our details by telling you that the sworn statement from Sergeant Baker provided in hopes of securing a search warrant contains details of the crime scene that were previously unknown. So while he was trying to get the search warrant, this is when the discussion about the sheath came up. Details about the crime scene that were previously unknown. I think this is where they're compensating for the fact that there's no body cam or crime scene photos of the sheath. And this was a concern way back January the 20th. You see what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? This is from January. This is from January the 20th that they had this concern. Understand me? So I'm just saying, when you think about what they're saying in these articles, everybody was pretty much reporting the same information. We can agree on that. All right. As I approach the room, I can see a body later identified as Kernodles laying on the floor. They can't get that straight either. Kernodle was deceased with wounds which appeared to have been caused by an edged weapon. Also in the room was a male, later identified as Ethan Chapin, was also deceased with wounds later determined to be caused by sharp force injuries. Now, I'm going to tell you what, just from reading this, I'm going to tell you one place that they're going to really have some problems. The prosecution. And they may have a way around this. I'm not saying they don't. But the timeline is so rigid. It's so tight. I mean, it's set in stone from 4 to 4:20 down to hearing some dog and whimper, and all of a sudden Dylan knows exactly when the killer left, around 4:17. She knows all this and she's present, and she knows all this that's going on, but yet she is a survivor. You have to think about how much sense that makes. That you're telling us this person was in the middle of the action, was close enough to hear communication from everybody involved, the victims, the perpetrators, the dog. We heard from everybody. We heard from everybody, and yet we still know nothing. And this person is alive. This person was in the house, in the middle of the action, on the second floor. Heard Kaylee speaking. Thought she heard Xana. Saw the killers. All of this information. And yet, just unscathed. I think it's ignorant to tell us this and expect us to believe it. Now, I'm going to give law enforcement a break. I will say this, that I don't really believe law enforcement planted the chief. I believe somebody within close, not necessarily law enforcement, but anybody in the military with military experience. I would expand my dragnet out past law enforcement to include anybody with military background. They're just as capable. That's what I would do. And so, if it could be anybody with military background, it could be anybody that could access that crime scene after the first day, or know somebody in law enforcement that could plan it for them. Because once that crime scene was taped off, there weren't not supposed to be any more civilians going in and out of there. All right, what do you think about that? What y'all got going on with that? All right. All right, we got Denny for 5, gifted 5 Hard Truth memberships. And we got Chief $4.99. We got some good people in here looking out for us. We got Big Money Air, my guardian angel. Yeah. We got Big Leslie Vasquez, also known as Les, up in the house with $19.99 super chat. Yep. All right. Now let's change our ticker back to reaching out to the world. Now, I feel like since we know for a fact that this knife sheath had to be planted, if the guy they saying left it, didn't leave it, somebody had to leave it, or somebody had to have a sheath in their possession claiming it was in that room. Somebody had to have it. Somebody had to have it. Who was it? Was it the chief of police? Was it somebody from the state or higher up in law enforcement or investigation, forensic, whatever? Who was it? Who was it that did it? I'm just asking straight up. Let me see what y'all saying. Cindy Abbott Tentdor. I agree, drug related. I work in juvenile prison as counselor for years. Most of their crimes were drug or gang related. If it involved unaliving, and yeah, I work with a lot of juvenile people. Shout out to One Made Nut. And you know, I should give you a brain for that, because a lot of times people will have underage kids doing their dirty work because they're juveniles and they don't get the same punishment for murder as a grown man. All right. Shout out to Tell It to Elder. Good to see you. I miss some of y'all trying to work this stuff here, but it's good to see you. Shout out to Tell It to El. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just saying, this is really some of it is no brainer. But I keep hearing Jack D, Sigma Chi. Let's go on. Let me see. Hold on. Let me pull my page back up. All right. It says the murder scene is revisited later in the document. I'm reading from the Inside Edition. It says the murder scene is revisited later in the document when Baker explains why he wishes to search the Kohberger apartment. The King Road residence contained a significant amount of blood from the victims, including spatter and cast-off bloodstain pattern resulting from blood drops released from object due to its motion, which, based on my training, makes it likely that this evidence was transferred to Kohberger's person, clothing, or shoes. Now, this would have sounded very appropriate, very transparent, and very rational if he had applied for this warrant and done this before they arrested that man. The fact that this was done after they arrested him, to me, is disturbing. Now, what do you say about that? That's disturbing. Why do they have to do two different walkthroughs? Man, they had so many so many people that came through the house until it really didn't matter. There's nowhere in the world they were going to get, a straight, clean crime scene with stuff that's not going to be challenged by Ann Taylor, because so many people had been in the house. So here they're telling us there was so much blood in the house, there should have been blood on Kohberger's person, clothing, or shoes. You hear me? they're saying right here in black and white. Remember, this was written on January the 20th. It says, the King Road residence contained a significant amount of blood from the victims, including spatter and cast off, which, based on my training, makes it likely that this evidence was transferred to Kohberger's person, clothing, or shoes. They're telling us that there should have been blood in his apartment, in his car, on his person. Right? They're telling us it should have been. But they were saying that in January before they actually searched his car or apartment. They didn't find anything. They didn't find anything. But they were talking so confident, like they had a plan B or something. That's how I see it. All right, what we got here? What we got here? All right. Under Maddie, possibly because we don't know how those two bodies were positioned. Maybe under Maddie because that's the only way it could fit on that space. All right. Shout out to One Made Nut. But let me ask you this. I think any argument or speculation about the sheath it's no good now for the simple fact that they changed it where they found it. Once they did that, I don't trust anything about the sheath story. By the simple fact that they changed up on where they found it. By the simple fact they changed up where they found it. Once they did that, that's what you call tampering with evidence. You said it was next to Maddie. On the left-hand side, coming from the bedroom door. That's what you said. Now you're saying it was between her and under her and the comforter. So how did it move? All your victims are deceased. You through the crime scene. Nobody moved that sheet. Unless you saying Brian Kohberger was walking around in there with you, investigating the crime scene with you. That's the only way that could happen. You're telling us there should have been blood on his clothes, his shoes, his hair, and it wasn't. I mean, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad for you to write in the search warrant that this guy should have these things, and then it turns out he doesn't. And on top of that, you don't know where he was from 3 to 5. You got to make your case better than that. If you're really trying to win. Now, if the prosecution is to the place here where they could care less who wins or loses, they've gotten their attention away from the school per se, then they could care less. But if it's still high stakes in some way, then they do care how all of this comes out, and they do care what we say. Then that's another story. But the sheep, you can't say it was over here and now it's over there. I mean, to me, y'all playing around, laughing now, joking around about the case now. Okay, it wasn't over there, it was over here. Now that's scary. That's scary. Okay, I'm going to put the invite link in here in case anybody wants to call in. We still got it going. We still got it going on. I had a little music to play at the beginning and I forgot to turn it on. Oh, I've been playing with everything in here. AF, this case, if the truth comes out, will end threats as we know them. They should be ended. You know what, AF? I think they were trying to end it at one point and they weren't successful. Put it that way. Shout out to AF. They were trying to end frats, and it didn't work out for them. They couldn't do it, or they claimed they couldn't do it. The people that wanted the frats were more powerful, is what I'm saying. From what I researched, the reason why they haven't been able to shut them down is because look how many people have died. Look how many people have died. And not just from violence, from alcohol poisoning and murder, rape, raping, they're hiding the statistics for raping girls on campus. So I have to agree about that. Cindy Abbott, there's a reason DM wasn't unalive. This is the reason she apparently cleaned up after the unaliver. She wouldn't for BK. All right, I'm gonna give you a brain for that, Cindy, because that's one of the strongest statements I've heard in the past 3 or 4 months. If there was a cleanup, because we're talking about the crime scene, right? Talking about the crime scene. All right, we got Eddie.
Hi, Hard Truth.
Oh, hello, Eddie. Thank you so much for calling in. How are you?
Well, good. So you and I both kind of agree that all 4 of them were targeted.
Right. I believe so. Yes, I do.
Yeah, me too. Also, that there's more than one killer.
I agree.
Would you also agree that if there is more than one killer, then one of those cannot be Brian?
Say that one more time. If there's more than one killer,
then one of them cannot be Brian. He cannot be involved in a group.
Right. Let me think about that for a second. Give me a second. Let me think about that. If there was more than one person involved, that would negate the account that they gave us in the PCA. That would exonerate Brian as far as that narrative goes.
Yes,
but as far as another narrative, unless he can prove where he was, I don't know if I could agree with that. Unless he can just say exactly where he was, that would exonerate him. If it's more than one killer, that would exonerate him from the narrative that's in the PCA.
Well, yeah, they're locked into that. That's the way they're coming at him. They're saying that he did this alone, and he wouldn't have to prove where he was. That's their burden to prove that he's guilty of this, not his burden to prove that he's innocent.
No, that wasn't your question. Now you asked me.
My question is,
hold on now.
If you think there are more than one involved, which I do agree with, then would you also agree that Brian cannot be part of that group? Let's say 2 people did it, for example. Brian cannot be one of those 2, right?
You're saying they're mutually exclusive, basically. And I just don't know if I can say that, because one can happen without the other, but they can also happen together. So, I'm saying, the narrative that they have in the PCA with DM's statement, I believe multiple killers negates that, and it goes in the trash. Now, to say that if there were multiple killers, Brian couldn't have been among them, right, whether he participated in the crime or not, but to say that he was not among them, I couldn't say that 100% unless I knew where Brian was. I think that based on what they told us in the PCA, Brian couldn't have done it, and nobody else between 4 and 420. I don't believe one person could have done that between 4 and 4:20 period.
Right. I don't
But
either.
at the same time, if we say there were multiple people in the house, that's something different now. That's something different. That's I would have to say, well, what time did the crimes occur? Because if they happen before 4 o'clock, then maybe it would negate Brian, because they're telling us, according to phone pings, he was in Pullman. Now, I could say I could go along with it that way, but I can't just eliminate Brian all the way universal just because there were multiple killers. No, I don't know if I could say that. Now, who I got here?
Rosanna.
Oh, Rosanna. Hey, Rosanna. Oh, hey.
I've been dying to meet you, man.
Well, I didn't see you didn't put the thing in there. I didn't see you trying to pop up. Huh?
I don't know. I was just pressing all kinds of buttons. Next thing you know, I'm backstage. Be ready. And you're the only one that can see me. I'm fine with that. Don't worry.
Okay,
All right. If you're good, I'm good. So, Hard Truth, everything you say makes a lot of sense. And the people that you do talk to is amazing. You know, I always thought from the very beginning, with everything I'm hearing, that he
Right.
did not do it. He did not do this shit. Okay?
I don't believe he did it
Excuse-
either, because
No.
I mean, it's too many lies.
You're very low, by the way. I don't know if something happens to the volume when this happens, but I hear you
Okay,
very low.
Let me try to turn.
I'm sorry?
Is that any better?
No, just exactly the same. I'll just make sure I listen carefully. It's on a tablet, maybe because I'm on a tablet. I don't know.
Who's on the tablet?
Well, I'm on a tablet doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that
Mhm.
shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be the
that's
problem, right?
volume. Maybe there's a volume here that I don't see.
Yeah. Well, you're very loud before I got on the phone, you know, like the normal live show I always listen to and everything. But now it's like very low.
Okay, well, I guess maybe I'm gonna have to just talk louder.
Yeah, just a bit. Don't struggle though. Anyway, what I was saying, you know, like
Did you
everybody's
hear what
making sense.
Eddie said? Can you
I'm sorry?
comment on? Did you hear what Eddie said? Do you agree with what he asked me? If
I
Brian,
was trying to get over to you when that was going on, and I didn't get it all, but I know that you couldn't comment on it or something, and I'm not sure what he said.
he was
Can you
saying,
repeat it?
yeah, Eddie, could you repeat your question?
Yes. So if you believe that there are more than one killers, would you also agree that Brian cannot be one of that group?
Well, no, I can't agree with that. I cannot.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
Because how can you say that? I'm not saying Brian was one of them or did it by himself, which we all doubt. Okay,
right?
Doubt it altogether that he even did it. No, but if there's a group, I don't believe he. What was the freaking question now? If there's all right, no, he's not part of that. Is that what you're asking me?
Absolutely.
All right, no, but you know what? Anything's possible, right?
You're saying that he didn't do it alone, but he could be part of a group that did it? Is that what?
I hope not. I mean,
well, I'm asking you what you think.
It's possible. It's possible if he's even involved.
Okay.
But going back to the car for a minute, yeah, I know. Bringing his own car to the crime scene, give me a break.
Right.
Involved or not involved. And this is what puts him not involved. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I can't see how that can happen. Who does that? Even the stupidest person won't do that.
Right. Yeah, but he could ride with somebody else. He could ride with somebody else.
That's true. That's true. the DoorDash people came around that same time. So maybe it was a DoorDash person trying to look for the house to bring the food. They saw a car. Same time the murders start. I mean, give me a break.
Right. Well,
It's
here's my
just too
question.
crazy.
Here's
What's
my
that?
question.
Yeah.
Why? How is it that Ethan's sister's car was, part of the crime scene? When the police finally did come, how did Ethan's sister's vehicle end up as part of the crime scene?
Could you repeat yourself? I'm so sorry, honey.
Okay,
Really?
how did
Yeah.
Ethan's sister's car become part of the crime scene?
I never heard of that.
It's in the crime scene. I'm saying when they sectioned off the house, they had sectioned off her vehicle too. It was in the
Oh,
driveway.
I got you. Okay. I don't know.
Take a
I don't
guess.
know. I don't
Take a
know.
guess.
What I think is that they got a haunt on for what's his name, Brian, to get everybody off their back. I've heard this before, and it probably is true. It's like they have an axe to grind with him. I don't know. And they got it. They got their man. They're saying they got their man.
Right.
Again, I have so much to say. I'm sorry. They let so many people in the beginning. They cleared them. You
Right.
always got to go back to the beginning. It got too
Right.
involved. You know what I'm saying? If you go,
Right.
too many characters, too many.
Right. You got to go back to the beginning.
Go back to the beginning, and those probably know more than That's our answers somewhere right there.
And
Then
going
what's
back
going
to
on
the
there?
beginning is
But-
how I ended up with this series called December 30th. You see these past 2 or 3 videos I made. I named them December the 30th because I went back to when this man was arrested to see how they double talk.
Right. I saw some of it. Yes, I saw some of that. Okay. Yes, like you're doing exactly. Go back to the beginning.
Go back to the beginning.
Yeah. What's with all these people going to Africa and that guy Jack Showalter, whatever his name is, and the cigarette butt guy, the 3 other DNAs in the house. What is all that? That just goes away and let's make it Brian. That's what I'm hearing.
Do you know that Mr. G said that Jack D did not take a DNA test? Now that doesn't mean he's involved or guilty of anything, but I'm just saying they said they had 3 unknown male DNAs, and Mr. G said Jack D did not take a DNA test.
Mr. G did not. Is that what you just said?
No, Mr. G did say. He said Jack D did not take a DNA test.
That's what I said. He did not?
He did not.
That's weird.
He said that a while back.
Hold on. Was he considered a suspect?
Well, at the time that they set up that little DNA mobile outside the, crime scene, taking everybody's DNA, everybody was supposed to be a suspect.
Okay. Yeah, everybody's a suspect anyway, right? In the beginning,
especially then when they didn't have a clue, and didn't even have nothing to lie to us about. They couldn't even lie to us that early in the investigation.
Right. Is there something about Mr. G? You know that, right? I'm sorry.
It is.
There's something, and I can't even word it.
Yeah, it is. He making them some money. He looking for the future money.
Yeah.
Building up some future money, some futures.
I always notice that when he talks, like right from the beginning, when it first happened,
right?
I don't see much emotion in him. He's more like to the point about what's going on, making a lot of sense. When you're torn up like that because your kid just died or whatnot,
yeah.
How do you even make sense with words?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you about Mr. G now. He changed because in the beginning he was told when he was on that interview and he said she never had a mean bone in her body. After he said
Right.
that, Mr. G was about to lose it. If y'all go back and watch it, he was about to break down then. I didn't think he was gonna make it. But that was then, this is now. This is like a totally different person that we hearing from right now.
Huh.
Totally different person. Because
I always see the woman, the wife, always the one that was messed up. She couldn't even talk. She would always cry through every sentence almost. You know,
Right.
tears and stuff. But he's taking it like a man. Okay, so you're saying in the beginning, I don't know what I might have missed, and I don't think I missed anything because I've been following the cases.
That's the only time. That's the only time that I could think of.
Right, and then he got real strong, right? Real strong, real fast.
Yeah, on that one, he was about to lose it on that one.
I don't know.
But since then, I mean, listen, the only thing that makes sense is they're building up for that money. They already filed the papers to where they had a right to sue for wrongful death or however you sue when you lose a child like that. And so they'll get more money, and Kaylee will be more of a martyr if BK is her killer. Then because if BK is not her killer, that means the state don't even know who killed his daughter, and they just got somebody and they don't even care about his daughter. He can't go with that. You know, he can't go along with that. You got to go along with BK. You got to go along with BK for his daughter namesake. At least it's somebody that's gonna be legendary, you know, and at least they know who killed his daughter. If he go along with this, at least they know who killed his daughter. If he go along with that, with BK ain't the one, and y'all need to get the right person. Every time you go in the locker room, they can be like, man, they never even found out who killed your daughter. And all that trash you talk, you know, cocky as you are, they never even found your killer.
Wow.
You gotta go along with BK. And
what's that?
Kaylee the biggest victim, and he's making Kaylee the biggest victim. Kaylee had a stalker. Kaylee could have escaped, but she was trapped up under Maddie. Kaylee was the target. Kaylee this, Kaylee that.
Yeah, but Maddie was, now they're saying Maddie was the target, and that's why Katie got killed. I'm sorry, Kaylee.
Right.
Excuse me.
Right. Well, they're gonna get sued together, I guess. I guess they're gonna get sued together because Maddie, when he filed the papers for the suit, he filed them for Maddie's family too. I mean, they in it too. They in that together.
The whole friggin' thing. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying I'm just saying they in the Morgans and the G's are in this suing thing together.
Yeah. It's just that the whole thing, it just makes no sense. The whole friggin' thing. You know?
It's not gonna make sense as long as somebody's lying. As long as people
exactly.
lie, it can make
sense. There you go.
All right.
That's right. Absolutely.
Tell it to L. Sigma Chi and the cops follow the money and corruption, and well, drugs go and coincide perfectly with those two. Yeah.
Is the gentleman still on the phone with us?
Huh?
Is that gentleman still on the phone with us?
Hey, Eddie, what you got to say?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I'm so sorry. Just took over the conversation. I mean to.
It's hard with three, but
with three of us.
Go ahead.
You see, I can't hear him. I can barely hear him. I can hear you louder than I.
What if one of us hop down, and then then the other one can come up when that one is done? What if we do it that way?
I don't know. That shouldn't make a difference.
I'm looking for buttons here to see if I get louder. No, I don't want to press anything. I'll probably disconnect us. Shit. It don't show you none.
I was just waiting for you guys to get done talking.
I'm thinking
so hard truth.
Right here. I found it up. Okay, I think I found a way to fix it. Let me turn mine up from that same place. It
Well, you didn't have trouble with anybody else. You hear them, right?
I can hear you. I can hear
And
you.
you can hear me.
Yeah, clear
Did
as a bell.
no one else said? Right. No one else said what I said, that I can't hear you.
Okay, I'm gonna turn up Eddie's too, instead
All
of
right.
letting it be automatic.
Are you
Okay,
saying?
Eddie. Now you go ahead.
Are you?
I hear
Are
you
you
nice and
saying
loud.
there's too many talking at once? I think that's.
All right, I'll be quiet. Go ahead, Eddie.
So my question is, do you think that there is deception in Dylan's statement?
I think the whole statement is a lie.
Yeah, me too. So if you were the detective and you felt that there was deception in Dylan's statement, but you put it in your PCA, wouldn't you, the detective, be deceptive by doing that?
Yes, and a lot of
Yes.
times the law enforcement officers that do that type of stuff, they end up being charged. At the end, they can be charged. You know, they can open an investigation. It's a word for that. When they open up an investigation on law enforcement for how they conducted the investigation.
Right. What the hell is that? Right.
Someone
There's
has their
a word
TV
for
on.
that.
I think
Internal affairs.
someone has their TV on in the background.
Yeah, it's internal affairs. It's internal affairs.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just very loud. I couldn't.
All right, and the
Here.
perp had to see all those cars out front. Why would a stranger dare go in? All right, shout out to Cindy Abbott. That's true. I mean, one thing that I'm hearing that people are getting backwards or getting confused on is two things, two facts that we all, no matter who you believe is guilty or innocent, it's two facts that need to be the foundation of some of these discussions. All right. Number one, whether Brian Kohlberger did it and who did it are two different problems or things that need to be solved about this case. Brian being innocent or guilty is one thing, and then finding out who actually did it, that's a whole nother thing.
Right.
It's not all intertwined or mutually inclusive. It's these are two totally separate situations.
Yeah.
And we have
You know what's scary?
We have to treat it.
You know what's
Come on, Roseanne.
I was gonna say. Yeah, I was just gonna say what's really scary is if Brian didn't do it, which I believe he did not, then the person or persons are still out there. And it's not like they're looking for them either. They think they got their man.
Well,
I mean, come on.
If this is, I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. This is the hard truth, and people don't want to hear it. But I'm gonna have to tell you the hard truth. When the police found out about this quadruple murder, and they dug around a little bit and listened to the rumors, or just looked at the crime scene, they might have discovered that they can't solve it. That the people involved who ordered that hit have too much power, and all they could do was cover it up. They might have had no choice.
Yeah, okay? You're right.
Yeah. The police in I don't know where El Chapo live, or one of these ones that have a lot of power in, you know, these street drugs. You know, if the police go there and find out El Chapo ordered 4 people killed, you know, they're gonna put it on the list of things he's done, but they're not gonna go looking for him for that, because that's not how it works.
Right.
The police could have got there and realized from the crime scene that this mass murder was a hit, that somebody disrespected the wrong person, and
right.
A small town, I'm sure they have some idea. And so when they realized that there was nobody they could go run and pull their guns out and say, we're taking you into custody, you know?
Right.
They couldn't do that. So the next best thing is to find somebody to fall for it so they can keep that school open.
Right. Okay.
That's one way to look at it.
That's what makes sense.
Yeah. Law
Yeah.
enforcement might have been to where they couldn't do nothing about it, but
Right.
cover it up.
Right. So I just don't want him to go under. If he's completely innocent, then he will walk away. They will be out there, whoever they were or whatever. And that would be it. But he's not
Well,
going to, I hope God, that he'll get punished for something he didn't do.
well, the Bible says, "Vengeance is mine," saith the Lord.
Okay?
He says,
That's,
"Eyes grown to and from." He see everything across the earth, and so when
mm-hmm.
stuff like this happens, you can already see the Lord's hand in it. You can
Right.
see the Lord's hand in it. If it wasn't for the Lord, we wouldn't have the body cams in Indiana where Brian didn't have no scratches on his face or his neck. His car was
Right.
filthy and looked like a fugitive.
Right.
Okay. If it wasn't for divine intervention, a lot of the stuff that we know for a fact, we wouldn't even know it. It was just the
Right.
way the way it came to us. It was, leaked some kind of way, but it wasn't just for us to know. And so,
Okay.
by the end, hey, darkness cannot overcome light. It might take a little time, but light is always gonna overtake darkness.
Yes. I believe in that. I truly believe in that. You know what you mean?
But joy comes in the morning, so it gotta be some light.
Yes.
Nobody's getting away with nothing. Whether you believe in God and the Holy Spirit, and or you believe in karma and Buddha,
I do.
The point of the matter is, nobody's getting away with anything. They just, creating some chaos for the future.
Right.
Hard truth.
Just creating more chaos for the future.
Benny's trying to say something.
Hard truth. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I have a question. Do you think that the sheath was planted with the DNA on it?
No, I don't.
The sheath was put there, but it didn't have any DNA on it?
I don't even think it ever had DNA on it. Be honest with you. It's no telling who DNA records or how they got them, or we can't even. They said the first time the sheep went to Idaho State Lab, they found nothing. That's what Howard Bloom said. He said they found nothing because there was nothing on it.
Right, the first time. Yeah.
The first time the sheep went to be tested, it went to Idaho State Lab. This is what they're saying. Even the prosecution agrees on this. And Howard Bloom told us this is another one of those divine interventions I was talking about. We weren't supposed to find out about the Texas lab and the fact that DNA been all over the place. But Howard Bloom came out and said it straight face. Whoever don't like it, so what? And nobody refuted him. Nobody came out and made a press release and said that's not true. You know what the attorneys for News Nation was saying? It's no big deal. It's no big deal. That's what they kept saying. It's no big deal. But the first time that sheep went to the lab, it came back with nothing because there was nothing on it.
So what did they do? Forget bank. What did they do?
When you think about it, they never actually had to put any DNA on a sheet or anything else until after they actually had Brian Kohlberger and his father and his mother's DNA. They really didn't have to produce. All they did was put in an affidavit, probable cause. They didn't have to produce physically anything to show that they had this guy's DNA and it came back a match to anybody or anything. They never had to produce that up front. They just told the court they had his DNA. There was no DNA on that sheet when it went to Idaho State. Okay, when it got by the time it got to Texas, time had passed. It just depends on where they were with hunting Brian down. If he was already at home with his parents, or at least he had already been stopped in Indiana,
Right.
The policeman had a car he gave or took or something, out of 2 stops, they could have got his DNA. body cam or no body cam. Between those two stops, they could have got his DNA at least inadvertently. But before that, no, there was nothing on the sheet because they were pinning. They were in the process of pinning it on Kohlberger. But if they couldn't make it stick on him, then that sheet would just been DNA of somebody else, whoever they could stick on. Okay, what you say about that, Eddie?
Well, that's interesting. I'll have to, mull that over and think on it. But I have another question for you.
All right.
Do you think framing or rush to judgment?
I think definitely framing. They knew what they were doing from day one when they even put this man out there because they lied about how he came to be a suspect in the first place. Okay? That's not rush to judgment. This was intentional. Every step they put that man's car, they put a stock photo of his car on TV on December the 7th. They put a stock photo of his car. That was intentional. Paparazzi was intentional. By the end, they knew what they were doing. It's not a rush to judgment. It's a frame up.
That's right. See, a rush to judgment would be like, oopsie, we made a mistake. We got the wrong guy. Sorry. And that would be unintentional. But, and those things can happen, but this is a framing. That is absolutely intentional. And that's what they're doing here.
Right. Yeah, this is kindergarten criminology. Because when you think about it,
this is malicious.
Well, welcome to real life. Welcome to bureaucracy. Think about it. The school is like, we got 4 people, we got 4 students that lost their lives in our custody. Whether they lived on campus or not, they were our students, so they were in our custody. We lost 4 students in a vicious, violent manner. Okay? And a lot had to be going through their minds. And when they sat down in the boardroom, the first obligation those stakeholders have is to the stakeholders, not to the victims' families, not to the people out here watching following the case that want justice. Their first obligation is to their stakeholders, that university. It's just the truth. And their stakeholders don't want to see their stock go from $50 a share to 20 cents a share over this. They don't want to see that. So the school's first obligation is to their stakeholders. And that obligation is to keep that school running, to keep the train wheels on the track, not to find justice, not to make sure they got the right person for the crime, not even solving the crime. None of that is the priority in this game. Okay? I take that they need to find the victims, find the killer. But I'm going to have to raise you on that because of the point of the fact is the school has an obligation to its stakeholders. All right? And so everybody got an ulterior motive and everybody's thinking about who? Themselves. So the president of the university has a handful of people he has to answer to. And if it was the mafia or somebody even close to that level of organized crime, it's nothing he can do about it anyway.
That's true. You're absolutely right.
Anyway, butt covered up. What are you gonna do? A sting and uncover all of the No, that's never gonna happen. There's nothing he can do but try to save the farm.
Hold on.
Somebody got to be sacrificed. You got 4 people that, lost their lives on our watch. We got our policemen going to the house on body cam and not arresting nobody, never entering the home and searching or nothing. So we can't take that kind of hit. We need somebody as a sacrifice for the greater good. That's what they're saying while they're smoking the cigars and drinking that good whiskey in the boardroom. They're saying we need sometimes for the greater good. we need to sacrifice somebody. At least one person got to go down for this. Okay, we got to
Can I
shut
say
down.
hard truth? I'm Italian, and I know for a fact I come from an Italian neighborhood, mafia, the whole bit. Okay,
Right?
you can say I'm an Italian princess. All right, was
All
anyway.
right.
Listen. If it was the Italian mafia that did this, there won't be a single one alive. None. Those two that survived,
Right.
Dylan and Bethany, really?
Not if they weren't there.
True. That
That's
what
why I
she's
don't
saying she
believe
saw.
they were there.
What's
I
that?
don't- That's why I don't
You don't
believe
believe
they
they
were
were there?
there. No,
But
no.
it probably would save them. Yeah, it probably would save them if they
I
weren't
don't
there.
believe
You're
the
right.
low-level street gang would leave witnesses like that. In this case, the way
Right.
those kids were murdered.
Exactly. Yeah, right. Any street gang, any hit.
Nobody.
Right. But I'm
So,
saying knowing from what my growing up, there's no way.
You're right. In
Yeah.
some cases, even if Dylan and Bethany weren't there, they would have went and got them wherever they were, just because they live in their house.
Exactly.
I understand what you're saying. You're right about that now. Okay?
Absolutely.
You're right about that. But like
This could be, hard truth. This could be. What if it's not a professional hit? Well, what if it was? All right, there's so what ifs. What if? The sheep was there. I don't know. It sounds like it's placed. The guy you had on the phone earlier, Sergeant Fry or whatever his name was, he made sense. Yeah, he made sense when he said if the sheet was on the floor or if the sheet was on the bed somewhere or somewhere in the room, it would be more believable. But it was under covers, under the bodies. You got to place something there to make that happen. No,
That's what I said.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. This is the craziest friggin' case. I can't get off it. I'm addicted to it. I even get in trouble for watching these lives and all this other stuff. I got to know.
You're right. You're right.
I'm just saying.
Tammy C. For all
What's that?
I said I'm giving a shout out to Tammy C. for all these great posts. Cindy Abbott, Tent Door, and Annie Ruler. Yeah,
you got some great people.
Eddie?
Well, before I go, I just have one last question. Is we talked earlier, I think Sergeant Friday was on, he mentioned that Ann Taylor will win on the 26th and the indictment will get tossed. My question is, do you think that would be a win for Bryan Kohberger?
Well, I personally believe there's no way on God's green earth Bryan Kohberger is not going to trial. That's the way I see it. They didn't come this far to just say, oh, we were just playing around all this time. We're going to let Ann Taylor have it. No, that's not what this is. I mean, some more heads would roll if they did that. I mean, they're already trying to hurry up and put the lid on this and go bury it somewhere and leave it buried. And so that would just make it worse. That just make it worse. No, I don't believe that.
You think they're going, hard truth, you think they're going to trial with no evidence?
I think this is going to trial for no other reason than money. I think AF was the one that said they're going to have cameras in the courtroom probably because they're making money up, taking those pictures and videos and
my question
it's a money game. It's a money grab too.
My question is what the prosecutor is going to have evidence to come after Bryan Kohberger with. How is he going to do that at trial with no evidence?
Well, they indicted him. They arrested him and indicted him with no evidence. They had the gumption to do all of that.
But that indictment
they'll go to trial and come up with some more fluff.
That indictment
coming up with fluff.
Well, when you say fluff, it has to be evidence. Like, what evidence are they going to?
Supposed to be evidence.
What evidence are they going to have? Like, are you saying like videotapes of him doing this? What evidence?
I don't believe Go ahead, Roseanne. You go first.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They're gonna have bullshit evidence. They gotta have something like he said,
Right.
Eddie.
Fluff.
They have to. They have.
It's gonna
They
be
have
bullshit
to have
evidence just to
something.
get through. Something Ann can fight.
If
You know what I'm saying? Something that, oh, that could be anybody's. Oh, that could have been this one or that. Things like that. You know what I'm saying? But there was places, I forgot where I heard them, where they say they have some super duper, put it like that. They have a lot of evidence on it. There were places, I forgot where I heard them, other creators, Harsh, no, Harsh never said that, I'm sorry. Where did I hear that? Like stuff like, News Nation or, the thing with Banfield or whatever, they were saying that they have a lot of evidence. You can't know what's true and what's not. They probably have something, because they have to have something in order to move forward with it.
Right.
So, Eddie, they have evidence, but they probably don't have evidence, if you know what I'm talking about.
Okay,
they have to have something.
Eddie, you hear what she's saying? Basically, what you confusing with have to and should. You keep saying they have to have evidence. You mean they should have evidence.
Well, yeah.
They're supposed to have evidence. But if you're trying to just BS your way out of something, it's just going to be a bunch of fluff and delays and a bunch of, paper fluffing. And they're already talking about they got 1 trillion pounds of data and all this old crazy
I heard, that's
stuff.
what I heard too, yeah.
They just want you to think this going to be a big whale of a case when it's not. It's all a bunch of fluff and people playing for the camera and people trying to move up in their careers.
Hard truth. What I'm trying to say.
Upstairs.
He's talking about the indictment.
What I'm trying to say, hard truth, is this cannot go to trial if they don't have any evidence. In this country, you can't bring a case, an arrest, an indictment against someone if you don't have any evidence against them.
Right.
That is treachery.
Yeah, but they did present evidence. They presented phone pings that he claimed he sorted through. He presented a stock photo of a car. He presented paparazzis, I'm sure. He did have evidence. They did present evidence. It's just a house of cards type thing. He got some cards, but it ain't no full house. It's not even a straight because some of it is lies. So he's got evidence that he presented. That's how he was able to arrest Bryan Kohberger in the first place. Is all the evidence he claims he had in the affidavit. And then it turns out that a lot of that stuff they claim they got in November. They just not asking for it now in September.
I guess my question is, so, okay, let's take it a different direction. Let's just assume that this gets tossed, that the indictment on the 26th of October, the indictment is tossed.
All right.
So the question is, do you think that that's a victory for the defense?
Well, yes. Yes, I do. Because this is a death row case. So anything like that is a victory. To still be breathing, to go to court is a victory. Because somebody could have killed him while he was in jail by now. So yes, every little bit of it is a victory. Everything that's helping you walk towards your goal is a victory. No matter how big or small, if it's going in that direction, it's an asset. It's a plus. It's good. So, I mean, it doesn't matter the size of the victory. It's still a victory. All right. That set the prosecution back to where they're right back where they started before they pulled that grand jury card up in the first place. All right. They got drove back on a plate. That means they lost yards that they had previously possessed. Now they're gone. They lost them. All right. So, I mean, that's just anything that's helping your cause or your case is a benefit. is a victory. No matter how big or small, it's still a victory.
Because the dismissal of the indictment, that does not come with a not guilty attached to it.
Okay, even if they dismiss the indictment, he still can sit in jail charged with this crime. They just have to do it under a different name. They would just have to get in order a little bit with the paperwork. But they still could charge him. That don't let him out of this case. It's a small victory. It's a victory because it set the prosecution back to where we were when we were entitled to a preliminary hearing to hear some real evidence. You know, they took that away from us. So if they get rid of the indictment, we can go back to a preliminary hearing in less than 30 days. Well, somebody got to do some testifying. You know,
Yeah, that is one of the options. It could be remanded for a preliminary hearing. You're right. But that is what it seems that the state is trying to avoid, because that would probably bring about Bethany's exculpatory evidence.
Well, if they need Bethany's exculpatory evidence, that's going to be the case no matter what stage that we're in the investigation. That's the case regardless. If they need, either they need it or they don't. Either she has it or she doesn't. And if she has it,
Right.
then they need it. This is a death row case. They need it. If she has it, they need it. This is death row. Somebody is gonna die.
Mhm.
You see?
Yep.
All of it is needed. And be honest with you, I think it would be irresponsible for them not to, cover these bases like this early. So this been going on for a year, and it's got a lot of people scratching their heads. The Bible says God is not the author of confusion. And everybody seemed to be just to the point of, this is a crazy case. I don't know who did what anymore. I can't even keep up with all the changing pieces.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I agree.
A lot of
Did anybody? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, did anybody hear anything about cameras in the courtroom? If they took care of that, were they still gonna have it, or did the judge say no more to that? That's the last I heard of it.
That's the last. Let me check before I misspeak.
I'm sorry?
Let me check before I misspeak.
All right. Because I never got the answer. Yeah, I've been looking for that.
Hard truth. I'll hop down now into chat. So.
Okay. Here it is. Okay, I hope they're gonna put the captions on. Back in court, I would say no decision because I don't see it. So maybe they haven't made the decision.
Yeah, they were supposed to do it right away, but they never seemed to have done it. It was supposed to be like days later. It never happened.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing it. Everything is saying 2 weeks to 3 days. I'm just not seeing it.
I hope they leave those cameras there, because that's the whole point, for us to learn, see what's going on. You name it. I'm scared they're really going to try to take them away because he don't want it.
Okay, well, Judge, he was almost pretty much willing to let them get rid of the cameras in June.
Yeah.
So I don't see where they would have the problem. I just don't see where he would have the problem right now. Because he didn't have a problem with it in June.
Right.
He didn't have a problem with it. And so why would he have a problem with it now? Only thing,
because
it's a money thing. It's a money thing.
It
You
is.
gotta,
Everything imports some money. Even in my little small town here in Texas, if you get arrested out here, anyway, as long as you got the money, don't worry about it. You'll be out. Everything's fine.
well, that's what they said
And
too.
even when you go in front of the judge or whatever, here we go again. Money, 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 money. You know,
Right,
you know,
right.
there's such thing. There is such thing, and I know you know this, girl. There is such thing as crooked cops. And I think what happened there, I don't know if they can't go after the people like you said because of their strength.
Right,
The other side who did it, or they just crooked cops and they got lazy and they just says
right,
somehow they
right,
got him, right. Somehow they
right,
got him. It's only him. They don't want to
right,
go
right,
further
right, right.
because they crooked, or they even did plant that sheet.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Just to get it going.
It's possible. It's possible, but I like to try to look at it from, I like to put myself in the other person's shoes. And so
Yes,
if I was in a situation where something like this happened, the only other alternative is to just say, I don't know who did it. And I'm the police. I'm supposed to know. Or
I
I'm
know.
supposed to find out. So to
Hmm.
just walk around saying I never solved that. That's crazy. You can't do that. I mean, you can, but you should, that's bad.
Right, right.
You're
All
not.
right, honey. I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna stay. I'll probably stay in the town, but I'm gotta go somewhere tomorrow to get images and stuff. Gotta go to the hospital, get some MRIs, and all. Long story.
Okay. I like your nails. They're so pretty.
Thank you. They just press on nails. That's all they are. You know, glued
Well,
on.
they look
I use
nice.
Gorilla Glue.
Oh Lord, have mercy. Now
No,
that's
it's okay.
now
I
that's
seen that one. It can
uncivilized.
actually come on. What's
Oh
that?
my God, that's uncivilized. You wrong for that.
Well, I want to keep these nails on. I don't want to hear nothing, so that's what I did.
Okay, all right, all
All
right.
right. It was a pleasure. It really was.
It was, and I will see you next time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All
I love
right.
you. You're the best. You are the
Night
best.
night and much love.
Stay safe. Much love to you too. Bye
All
bye.
right. Bye bye. All right, guys. Let's see. I guess I say she don't even talk in the chat that much trying to do this right here. All right. Well, let's see. What do I have here? I want to put the thank you in here. Let me hide this. And I want to give, before we break up, I'll still be here for a few minutes. I'm not rushing off, but I'm just saying, I want to give a great big thank you to everybody who donated in September. This is the last live of the month. And so I really just want to say thank you, everybody. I don't care what it was. Just thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you so much. This has been great. We had another awesome month. I think we did get all the newsletters put out, and here we are in a much better place as far as software. This software here is so much better than what I was using, with so many more tools. So excited about learning more about it. All right, but I just want to say a great big thank you. I don't care if it was $1 or 50-cent sticker, all the way to AF who just pretty much carrying the channel on his back. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you to everybody that's been here from the beginning, putting up with me from January, February, March. If you joined around that time and you still here dealing with my foolishness, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We got some new members here, but we also got 6 more. I wasn't really able to come up with it. All right. Okay, that's Robin Latham, another angel investor and a good friend. It's been so encouraging and supportive from day one. I just can't even explain. All right, I can't even explain how great she's been, Robin Latham. And so, with this software made the difference for me because V I'm not bashing. I'm just saying I had to do a bootleg video during August. That wasn't cool. I had a lot of problems, and so I don't know where that partnership or relationship is going. But as of right now, I'm really just thinking about it, what to do. Okay. But thank God for this StreamYard, because let me tell you, so far it's not hard to operate. I just need to learn how, just keep driving it, practicing. It'll let you practice in a private live. And so as long as I can do that, hey, I'm gonna keep working hard for you. And this is just great right here. I love the feel of the interface. I understand the logic behind the design. And so I'm good with it. I'm singing his praises. And this is just a free trial. I can just imagine what the Mercedes-Benz version of it is like, So, hey, thank you to everybody. What are we talking about in the chat? What do we got going here? We got a lot of new members and subscribers. Everything good. Everything good. Rosanna Scotty, thank you so much. Definitely a pleasure. Let me give you a shout out. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, we are at 11:54, and actually we shut down usually around midnight unless we get caught in the middle of a discussion, and so thank you, Robin Latham, Audrey Cates. How many moderators do we have here? We had Audrey Cates, Robin Latham. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. All right. So we're gonna be able to have a lot more interaction. I'm gonna have to dig down and get you guys some better content because right now the news is a little slow, but that's all right. We got a lot of good potential. A lot of new subscribers coming on saying, hey, I just subscribed. A lot of people saying, hey, I got my 1 subscriber for the 1 subscriber drive. Okay, so everything's good. I'm happy with everybody and everything. You guys couldn't be better. And so we're going to bring the ideas. I'm going to read my email and try to get your video and survey out on time on Saturday. That's my goal. I pray that I meet that goal. And so I think that's it. All right. I think that's everything. I'll leave the chat open for another 10 minutes. Okay, for you all to exchange information or whatever. And then I'll shut it down. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming out. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you. Much love to all of you. All right. Night, night.